YouTube. How are you doing? How are you doing? Good to have you here. Welcome. And we got some action on the chart as well. Right now this range is moving to the downside at the moment, not the upside. We had a bit of a bounce, but not much, and we're at the lower edge of the range. I think therefore it's also nice to zoom out and don't really focus on the 15-min, even though I do have something to share with you. But mainly stick around on the 1 hour time frame, which is actually more interesting at the moment, mainly because of the scenarios we already have. Because on the 15-minute, this move down here looks very much like a three-wave structure. So in my head, I do have a potential some double zigzag to the downside, or looking for a flat or whatever it is. But I'm not confident about an impulse here, even though a subwave, an A or a C, can of course be a impulsive structure, or a wave Y can be a zigzag by itself, which is a 535, but not really looking for a wave 3, let's say. But now that price is moving to the downside and we have some volume coming in, what we always do as Elliott Wave analysts is wait a little bit for a range, wait for price to cool down, and then we make some educated, or, you know, like in analysis we say that differently. We make some educated decisions, like, you know, good arguments to make a trade, I suppose, is a little bit of a translation in English. But how you doing, everyone? Good morning, afternoon. It's almost New York opening. Victor HZ, what's up? Sorega, Mr. Hetler, welcome. Ian, Tom, Mr. Sieb, Hiop, Aqua Fasami, welcome. Ionut, Dexter, Adam, Abit, Evout, John, Swakse, what's up? How you doing, Mido? And could you, we'll look at the higher time frame as well. Murtaza Sumit Gouda, welcome. How are you doing? Now, if you see me drinking anything during the live stream, just make sure it is no alcohol, 0.0, right? So, of course, public live stream, you never know who's watching, but I never really drink alcohol anyway, so. Very nice. So that being said, let's do a couple of things. First of all, we're gonna analyze the Elliott waves, and then of course we're gonna start on the weekly, as we like to zoom out, and also got a request here to go to the weekly, so why not? Then secondly, we're gonna go to the 4 hour and then the 1 hour. Hey, that's a new graphic. Did you see that? My alarm went off and it actually was bouncing in my screen. I go like in out. Let's see if it hits this one. I want to see that again. Okay, I never saw that. They updated trading view with regards to the alarms. If my alarm here is hit, focus on the arrow. You'll see it flashing. We're gonna do Elliott waves, and then we're gonna chat and Q&A. And I have about, let's say, and I gotta mind my time, because tomorrow the photographer will come to make pictures of our house as we are selling the house. So I have to make sure that tonight things are nice, neat, good lights. So this morning I've been working on the lights in the house, made sure to put a couple of like new lights in and stuff as well. It's been a good day, but it's got to be ready for tomorrow. So I got some more stuff to do. But that being said, let's start with the waves. So I'm going to park you on my second screen here. What's up, Bettina? How are you doing? And I'm going to close Spotify, as we will not need Spotify. Now let's actually shortly start on the with this range first, right? So it was quite interesting to count this morning, and we did have a move towards the upside here, down, back up. Eventually we failed. So now it's very likely this is a complex structure. I do like to have a look at this range at the end of the analysis, maybe, do a little bit of thinking live in what we are looking at here. However, what for me is most important is that if we are looking for a very big impulse down, we need this to be a wave 1, this to be the end of a 2, and now we're starting a wave 3, which means this has to be another 1, 2, and then a big wave 3. But I really struggle counting this as an impulsive structure. So on the 5 minute, right, we have our move down, a move up, right? And arguably or potentially, you can have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, where this is your second wave 4, matching this wave 2. But you can see how short a wave 4 is compared to the 2. So at the same time, you can also count this as a 3-waver, right? A, B, and then a 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 5, where here you have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So an ABC does look a bit better than an impulse to the downside. But now that price is moving to the downside and we have some volume coming in, we just wait for price to show what it wants to do, right? So let us wait, see if we get a bit of a range, maybe a bit of a bounce as well, and give price a little bit of time, as the probabilities haven't changed on the weekly, the 4-hour, the 1-hour as well. For those probabilities to change, we really need to actually take the low of 64.2K. Currently, we're still hanging around at 66K. So Christian, Andrew, welcome. Larry, good to see you here as well. So we currently do have a bit of a reaction here as price just wigged below the low. Of course, we are in a ranging environment, and as mentioned, also here on the 15-minute, it just looks better as a 3-waver. So in my head, I'm like, well, what's the potential of this being some sort of a double zigzag, right? WXY, or yeah, maybe we get a bounce. Now, what is going to be interesting is if price locally is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. We have the highest volume in the low. So preferably, if we think about an impulse, we're looking for a 1, 2, eventually a 3, 4, 5, meaning if price is now hitting that 0.618, the probabilities are actually going to be higher to move towards the upside and take the highs. So we now took the lows already, that one, but I'm not confident about an impulse here. So yeah, let's see. But if we are looking for an impulse down, we want the highest amount of volume, preferably in a wave 3. Now you can see volume increasing as price here is moving down. So therefore, preferably, we're looking at a 1, 2, 3, right? And then a 4 and a 5. But if price moves up and hits the 0.618, then a wave 4 is invalidated, which increases the probabilities to move towards the upside. So let's wait and see. We are at a little bit of support, the low over here. We have a support resistance area just below, and then we have a daily and confluence with a point of control at about 64.9K. So those are some interesting areas. I think because of the 618 there, let me remove this one here. All right, I'm going to put an alarm here so that we know what is going on locally. Okay. Christian, Coffeeholic, Tiago, welcome. Good to have you all here. So yeah, we have the 618 set, and let's then start with the analysis on the weekly time frame, and then we're going to zoom into the lower time frames. My alarms are set. I have an alarm above price, the 618, important, and also below price over here, right? Hitting that 618 does increase probabilities to then move towards the top of the range, typical ranging structure. So I'm still not convinced of a bigger impulse down here. So the probabilities haven't changed locally compared to the morning video, that is, right? So yeah, let's see what we get. Do you ever wake and bake? I don't know what you mean, Laurie. You mean like baking as kitchen, wakeboarding? Okay, gonna remove this. This is the low. Targets of yeah, let's just turn this off. I'm gonna move a few scenarios in here, not that one. Yes, this one goes in. I got a lot of folders nowadays, it seems. Oh, here. The weekly time frame. Put the weekly time frame in as well. And that is, I think, all I want. Let me go to the higher time frames here instead of being on the low time frame and see what some of the other folders are that I have. Extended wave 5, very bullish. This one is pretty much invalidated anyway. Can we remove this? No. Oh, that's the very bearish scenario. Okay. Medium time frame bullish scenario. Gonna put that one in as well. And then we have the 4-hour bearish scenario. Okay, so there we go. Organized sometimes takes a little bit of time to make sure everything is set. So yeah, let's see what price is gonna do locally. Cola, how you doing? Oksana, welcome. Red Web Club. Well, I do follow your 1 second before I start. Your live since a week, and I have to tell, thank you for the smooth show you deliver with good content, the way you don't try to predict, but instead just show and explain all different scenarios which can occur. So well. Hello from a French guy living in Germany. Okay, there you go. Living in Germany. Neighbors now. But okay, bonjour. Bonjour, bonjour. Thank you, Red Web Club. Yeah, it's about the highest probability scenarios and then attaching probabilities to them, and you know that's all we can do. There's always at least one bullish, one bearish scenario, and then we attach probabilities to them, which you eventually need for trading, of course. So, Mateus, how are you doing? Obelix, welcome. Good to have you here. French in Germany, what's up, Mark? Yeah. I mean, I'm Dutch, moving to France, so there you go. I go the other way around. So I'm actually moving out of this area. Yeah. So keeping an eye on what's happening here. We do have definitely a move up locally, right? Let me put that FIB on here for a second. We had some news as well. So we are now at the 0.5. Remember, the 0.618 is important because if we are in an impulse down, the highest amount of volume is in the low. So therefore, preferably, this is part of a wave 3, right? And then you want a 4 and a 5. Now, interestingly, is that we do already have overlap here, which would invalidate a wave 4. So, or you have to like 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you get a very big 3 down. But I still don't like this as an impulse to the downside, and the probabilities of this range here remain higher for a corrective structure, not an impulsive structure, meaning higher probabilities to sooner or later take the highs instead of moving below 64.3K. So my alarm isn't hit yet though. We hit the 05, potentially support resistance, backtest over here. Who knows? But the probabilities, yeah, 618 is interesting. So I have an alarm there, and see what we get. And there might be like swing opportunity in this area. Okay, let's go to the weekly time frame. If my alarm goes off, we're gonna make sure to have a look locally. Okay. If I look at my second screen, by the way, that is where you are. Hello, is this actually C playing out right now? It doesn't look like an impulse. That's the, yes, we have a sharp move down, but it's the first structure that looks a bit 3-wavy, but it might be a wave C. Yeah, I mean, there is, of course, some volume coming in. So probabilities are still higher on that 1 hour to see a move to the upside. France is beautiful. Germany is good. What's up, World of Crypto? How are you doing? GT Sleeper, welcome. The odds at the moment for the low there being in are good compared to moving to the downside and taking the low at 59K directly. But I do have a fun scenario. Okay, I'm gonna share it. I do have a fun scenario. I'll share it at the end, which is something it just hit me when I was walking outside. So I don't know, everywhere I am, I'm thinking of Elliott Waves, and I was outside, and I was thinking about the range, and then another scenario hit me. So I was like, let me put it on the chart at least, or I first put it in my notes. So, okay, cool. Put you guys on. There we go. So let's start with the analysis. The time is, we are starting at 17. Okay, let's start at 18 minutes in the live stream. Christian, how are you doing? Good to have you here. Mr. Seep, addicted to Elliott Waves? Yeah, there was a period where I disliked Elliott Waves, but now I love it. So, yeah, you know. What's up, Christian? Okay, 18 minutes reached. Let's start with the analysis. Starting on the weekly, also requested. So on a weekly time frame, always good to zoom out, and you know, the low time frames, there's a lot happening, price moving up and down and up and down, and then you zoom out and you look at the weekly and you're like, oh well, we're actually just going sideways, right? So on the weekly time frame, the highest probability scenario is the bullish scenario, right, where we're looking for a move to the upside, and here we have a double 1 2 3 finished. Looking for the sideways wave 4. Common target area for your 4 is between the fibs here, 0.236 to the 0.5, right? It's 63.3K, 53.3K. Invalidation, the 0.618 at 49.3K. Now we're then looking for a move to the upside. Potentially this wave 4 is in. The alternative scenario is a continuation of the range on the 4 hour, which I'll show you in a second. However, short term, we do expect at least a move towards the upper side of the range or the middle of the range. So after a wave 4, by all means, we do want to see price moving to the upside in a wave 5. Wave 5 by itself should be a nice 5-wave structure, finishing the yellow wave 3. So in an impulse, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sub-degree of the yellow 3 is the green count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now after this wave 3, we are looking for probably a multi-month range in a wave 4 before then a final push to the upside in a wave 5. And that is what I show you here. This count is the least bullish count, by the way, that I have. There's more bullish ones that I have. So that is the minimum pretty much. Now the bearish scenario, which has a lower probability, for two reasons. One has to do with the local range, and two, on this weekly time frame, we are currently at a regular flat target taken from the high to the low of A. The regular flat wave B target is the 1 to the 105, but a regular flat is less common, right? It's uncommon compared to an expanding flat, and an expanding flat target is all the way up here, 1.236 to the 1.38, 98K to 122K. Welcome, Rob. So we have our B here. Now, let's imagine this is the high of your B. You want to have a C to the downside, where your common target for a regular flat wave C is between the 1 and the 1.236, taken from the high to the low of A to the high of wave B, sitting between 16.5K, 11.6K, and the extension is 6.5K. Best area of support is the golden pocket, taken from the low to this high, and the value area high of this multi-year volume profile between 10 and 9K, right? So that is the best area of support. However, if we then zoom in to this range here, the most bearish scenario, because wave C is an impulse, right? We need impulsive structures on the lower time frames to really move to the downside. So if we then look at the 4-hour time frame, right, it basically means that this is the high of your wave B, and we need to look for a 1, 2, and eventually a big wave 3 to the downside, right? Now let me get this scenario. So here it is. So we don't have a 1, 2, 3. Now the 886 is a rare target for a wave 2, and you often hear me talking about this in almost every video. If we have an 886 touch, you will always have me repeat this, because it is such a good thing to learn when you trade Elliott Waves. The moment the 886s hit, the probabilities are incredibly high that the move down is corrective and not impulsive, which means in this case one wants to look for longs, right, and not a potential 3 to much lower prices, because the 886 is very rare for a wave 2, common for a wave B or a wave X. Increasing the probabilities any move to the downside is a wave C or a wave Y. It is such a small thing to know about, but it really is really helpful for your trading. Once you know this about the 886 Fibonacci, it doesn't mean that it always plays out, right? It's probabilities, but the probabilities are very rare for a wave 2 to hit an 886 as a target. So that being said, this of course impacts the probabilities for an impulse to the downside. Besides, this move here counts better as a corrective structure instead of an impulsive structure, as we've already covered multiple times. So this lowers the probabilities as well for a very bearish scenario where for that wave C you go all the way down to below the low that we made at pretty much 15k, as that is the target for a regular flat, right? 16 to 11, best area of support 10 to 9k. So therefore the bullish scenario has a higher probability. Now, if we then look at the bullish scenarios in this range, right, quick little peek at what Bitcoin's doing here, we have a regular flat that is finished. 3 wave A, 3 wave B, 5 wave C to the downside. Common target for your wave C is the 1-to-1 taken from the high to the low of A to the high of B. Many of you will be able to dream this by now, I suppose. And the 1-to-1 has been hit here for a couple of times, twice to be exact. 1, 2, and then we have a move to the upside. Now, in the bullish scenario, the end of a C and continuation of the trend, what we're looking for is impulsive structures on the lower time frames. And here you have the two that I covered earlier today as well. Now let me extend this a little bit, make sure that your viewing experience is nice and my chart is neat. Up. One more. I always do that myself. Okay, there we go. Looks nice, looks nice. We don't yet have overlap up as well, which is interesting. So in this particular scenario, as price is indeed moving a little bit to the upside here, we might actually hit my alarm. So don't get a shock if you hear my alarm, by the way. So what's up, Andy? How are you doing? How are you doing? So here we have arguably a higher probability scenario compared to the very bullish scenario coming up with a multiple 1-2s and then a big 3. The result is the same though. You expect the high of 3 to be taken, price to move up, and then depending on the move to the upside, that is when we get a better idea of what we're actually dealing with, right? Because in this particular scenario, we're looking for another 3, 4, and a 5. So pretty much a continuation of the range. Yeah, you move up, you're going to hit the resistance area that we have over here. The blue box, 68.2, 69.2, right? Got a bit of a rejection in another 4 and then a 5 and then move down and then you go towards the upside, right? Now in this scenario, just to back to an overview because I already went in detail now. We have a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finishing green 1, looking for a green 2, continuation up. Inside the blue 3, we look for an internal 1, 2, 3, 4, and eventually a wave 5 to finish blue 3. You have an impulse here, right? We can also count an impulse here, and currently in a sideways range. This is very much wave 4-ish behavior, what we see over here as well with the complexity that we are dealing with at the moment. Now, the most common target area for a wave 4 is between the 236 and the 05. Currently, I have the 382 and the 05 on my chart. The 05 is at 65.7k, right? As you can see so far, this area between the 382, 66.1k, is holding nicely. But what we don't want to see in the internal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is overlap between wave 1 and the wave 4. So the moment price is moving to the downside here again, right? Moving to the downside and hitting this high, this scenario becomes invalidated because we can't have an impulse here inside wave 3 where wave 1 and wave 4 have overlap. Right? That's not allowed. So that's not something that we want to see. This line, right, the high of this wave 1 might be a little bit different on your chart, but on my chart it's 65.7k. Right? That's not a level that we want to hit over here. So we are looking for price to move up. Right, simple invalidation down here. Now the most bullish scenario, in this scenario, you are allowed to move towards the downside to invalidate the scenario I just mentioned. So here we have our green 1, 2, the highest degree, Elliott Wave count in green, your biggest 1, 2. You look for a 3, 4, 5. Inside the green 3, we have the blue count, 1, 2, moving up. And then we have the wide count, 1, 2, and then moving towards the upside. Common target area for 2 is the 05 to the 786, right? 65.7 to 64.8K. The 382 is hit. I mean, the 05, we just missed the 05 again. The 382 is a bit of an uncommon target for wave 2, but a target nonetheless. The 886, we don't want to hit that one. What's up, Cheese? How you doing? So we don't actually want to hit that 886, right? The moment we hit the 886, it's just unlikely we are in a scenario like this, because the 886 is rare for a wave 2, right? The 05 is common, 382 again, uncommon, right? So in this scenario, what we're looking for is price to move towards the upside, but instead, as in the other scenario, we are ranging a bit and then move down sharp. Here, we are looking for a strong continuation to the upside. So you really want volume coming in, impulsivity, right? You want the chart to do this parabolic type of move towards the upside in a straight line. Right? That's what we're looking for. So the moment price breaks above this high, both scenarios are still valid, but how price moves to the upside, that's what's going to matter the most. And if price does move down first, well, if we have overlap here, we invalidate that other scenario, no? Now, locally, we also have, however, some 886 touches. There we go again, right? So it's all probabilities. We have an 886 touch over here. Now, I already counted this in the live stream when we were live over here as a potential wave 2, just because it's quite easy to count a 5-wave move in here. But what is more interesting is if we remove this one, there's another one, right? So there's another 886 touch over here, taken from the high to the low. And then we get back to what we know is, well, the 886, okay, rare target for a wave 2, common target for a wave B or a wave X, increasing probabilities. Any move down is a wave C or a wave Y. Or in other words, probabilities highest that we are in a corrective structure and that everything that follows is part of a correction and not an impulse, which is probabilities. Now, of course, this here, the 886 touch, adds to the probabilities of looking for scenarios that move towards the upside. So, no, both of the scenarios, I mean, in a couple of hours, that would be very impulsive, but you never know. Price can move down quick and move up quick as well. So, yeah. So I do realize, I see in chat, this one is also an 886 touch from this high to this low. However, and this is what you got to watch out for with the 886. This is what I don't often say about the 886 because it doesn't happen too often. However, the first one is most important because a second one, so if you have a corrective structure and this one would do this and then you go this and then you actually hit the 886, right? So if you are in a WXY, this happened once. In this move to the upside. 1 second, I gotta show this for the sake of 886 education, pretty much. All the way down here. The 886 can be a running flat C or a wave Y target. So that is why a second time when it hits, for example, you gotta watch out. So here we had an 886 touch, right? 1 second, checking. Not there. So here we had two 886 touches, right? This one here, and then price ranging, and then another one. So we touched it twice, but eventually we lift off. Now the first one, important, right? Probabilities higher that any move to the upside is corrective. And then we start ranging, we move down, we move up, right? And so you hit it for a second time. So I don't really look at the second bounce too much. I look then at what comes after. And in this current range, when we think about a WXY, wave Y can end at the 886. So this one, wait, let me explain this differently. Okay, 1 second. So we have a move down, we have a move up, doesn't hit the 886. Another move down, and then we have a move that hits the 886. So now you have a move here that hit the 886, right? I need to explain this more clearly. Okay, right? So, and the first retracement, I don't know, I think I put it at about 786 golden pocket. Yeah. Okay, perfect. the first high is the most important for an impulse, right? Move down, move up. And if for an impulse, you want to see a wave 3 to the downside. If this one hits the 886, low probability, it's going to be a wave 3. Now, if you move down from the second high and then see an 886 touch here, this might just be a wave Y. So we have a wave W, X, and then a wave Y, right? And then you move down and eventually you can continue. I got to be sharp here with what I'm saying. So because your overall scenario only hit the 886 area from this high to this low, even though wave Y hit the 886. Kun. Okay, I go back again because it's not easy to explain. The first lower high is the important one. If this one hits the 886, probabilities go down that any move down is an impulse. It's higher probability for a C or a Y. However, if you then take a fib from this high to the low here and price hits the 886, it doesn't have the same probabilities, right? Because this can be a wave W, X, and wave Y is finishing below W, which is a target. And then we can just move down in a wave 3, making this a wave 1, this the end of 2, and you go down for 3. So the first relevant high, that is the one you want to check with the 886. A potential lower high is not interesting to me. Because yes, we can touch the 886, but I can't give it probabilities like I can with the first one. Because a second touch, right, or the second high, the second lower high, touching the 886 can be a wave Y of a bigger WXY, or even an ABC, a running flat as well, and then you can move down in a wave 3. So the second one, the lower high, does not have the same probabilities when you touch this 886 compared to the first time you go up. I hope this is clear. Hi. For the, yeah, you know, I suppose for the sake of this example, this is the high that matters. This one doesn't matter. Because if this high here would have gone to the golden pocket, you get a move down, you get a move up, you take a fib from the high to the low, and this one hits the 886. This can just be a wave 1, 2, 3. Right? Because the 886 touch is a wave Y compared to W, but not wave 1 compared to your 2, let's say. So you got to watch out with the lower high 886s. So therefore, you only see me pull an 886 for the actual high to the lows and look at the first one. I rarely ever look at the second one because it can hurt you, right? Because then you're like, ah, shit. I'm gonna try and look for longs and longs and longs, and price just keeps dumping because you're in a wave 3. I hope that's clear. So that's actually, so that is information you won't read in the books, everyone. That is information you won't really read in the books. That is experience because I got burned. So and it also makes sense because once I lost a few trades in that way in the past, it made me analyze this particular why, right? It hit the 886. Why? And well, this is why, because it's a wave C or a wave Y, and then you go down in a bigger 3. So always look at the first 886. Right? That's the tip. Okay. Right. So that means anything that we are looking for here at the moment has a higher probability of being corrective and not impulsive, right? It's all probabilities, but the probabilities are lower. We're in a wave 1, 2, and a bigger 3. Arguably, looking at this structure, as mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, this looks more like a 3-wave move. So there is the potential here for either a double zigzag, right? This doesn't look like an impulse to the downside. But if we are looking for a big move down, 1, 2, we want to see a wave 3. However, this doesn't really count like a nice impulsive structure at the moment, which just adds to the probabilities that upside remains more interesting than downside. Also with regards, of course, to the different scenarios we have. The low of a wave 2 or looking for a 4 and move towards the upside. We didn't yet hit overlap. Let me actually put my alarm on that overlap, by the way. There we go. Okay. Cool. Lots of explanation there. This one is not relevant. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Bearish scenario. Right? The bearish scenario is short-term bullish, but then long-term, as in the upcoming months, you're still going to go sideways. So your regular flat ABC in this scenario is an A or W. You look for an X or a wave B, and then a Y or C to the downside. Common target for your X, common target for your B. Now, X or B, most commonly, is a zigzag, 5-3, 5-wave structure. Now, if you look at the shape of my line, you probably also recognize a bullish scenario in here, which is this one. 1, 2, 3, right? I just covered this one. So if we get a move up, a move down, and then a move up, we are going to be looking for either a wave 3 or a wave C, which depends on the move to the upside. The volume, the shape, the impulsivity, right? What do the ranges show us? Is there signs? Is there a sign of weakness? So that is then what we're going to be talking about. But at the moment, this move up looks very much like a single structure. And therefore, we would be looking for at least more upside minimum, right? Either directly, maybe hit the golden pocket, then down, and then another move up in your X or your B. So this is the higher probability bearish scenario compared to my thought when I was walking here outside and I was still thinking about the charts. And then this scenario hit me, which is not a... it's not the highest probability scenario of the two. But if we want to end a structure here and move to new lows, this is how I would count it. So, and also, of course, I see people talking about and asking, can we go down? Can we go down? Of course, the probabilities are always there. There's never certainties in trading. It's just that the probabilities are higher to look towards the upside. But when I was thinking about this in particular, when walking outside, this scenario, I was analyzing the chart in my head, and then I came up with this. So we have our regular flat in an ABC, but instead of ending here, it ends here, right? That is the difference. So we have an extended wave 5. Wave 1 and 3 are similar in length. So we have a trend-based fib from the high of 1 to the low of 1 to the high of your 2. Toggle on the 1 to 1. You can see that your wave 3 is pretty much the same length as your wave 1, which opens the door. Don't look at the scam wick here, by the way. Other charts don't have this wick. I know there's overlap on mine, but other charts there's not, right? This is a scam wick on the 1 minute time frame. So this is your high of 4, right? There's no overlap here. So wave 1 and 3 are quite similar in length, which opens the door for an extended wave 5, which therefore means wave 5 is the highest volume wave and can be longer than wave 3 as well, which is what we see here. It's not as common, right? It's not as common, but at least there is the potential for this to happen. Now in a regular flat, however, and that is a thing with my chart and some other charts like the index chart, this wave W and wave C therefore did not take the low of wave A. Which means on my chart here it's a running flat, which is very rare. Now depending on the chart that you have, Bybit or whatever, there are some charts that did take that low, but also other charts that didn't, right? So let's go through them. We have the 4-hour here. I think this is Bybit that I'm going to now, if actually the chart wants to load. There we go. So Bybit definitely here took the low with the first wick to the downside, right? Then we have Bitstamp. Bitstamp did not with the first time. Binance on my chart here, this one, which is Bitcoin USD, didn't. The index chart, which is always an important chart to keep an eye on, also didn't. And then I have the BingX chart, which did. So there's a couple of charts that maybe did, others didn't. Mine didn't. So a running flat in W. Now a running flat is rare. It is the rarest flat pattern. You have an expanding flat, most common, regular flare on number 2, and then a running flat. So on my chart it's a running flat, and some other charts it's a regular flat because the low is taken. Nonetheless, that's your low of 5C and therefore W, right? Because that's what we're then looking for. Make this nice. Then in our wave X, we have a flat. We have to, in a way, because we took the highs. So we need a corrective, move up, a 3 wave down. Mind you, this is your low. So we have to look for a WXY where wave Y, and I checked this as well, hit the 0.618, as you can see, which is a minimum target for a wave Y in a W, X, and a Y. A 3, 3, and you will be able to count a 3 in here as well. Let me go to the 1 hour just to show this as well. So you then have your 3, a 3, and another 3. W, X, Y. That in this case is then your wave B. Now your wave B, taking a fib from the low to the high here, did not hit the common target area for a flat, which is for an expanding flat is most common. So you can see the 1.236 to the 1.38 here, right, is not touched, but the 105 is touched. And the 105 is a minimum target for an expanding flat. And actually the 0.9 to the 05 is your common target area for a regular flat. You can see we went a little bit below the 05, but you know, at least we took the low over here. So there's always that potential. So we are then looking here for your A, B, C, which therefore means, and this is also the reason that I say if price moves here, I remember those live streams and the videos last week. If price moves down here, we gotta wait for proof of support for a 1, 2, and a 3. Because you can as well just move to the downside, and then this is the way I would count it, where this is a wave C. Now, when we think about wave C, preferably a wave C does not reach the 2 fib timeline, right? That really lowers the probabilities for a C. Now, the 2 fib time is taken from the low of A to the end of B, and then you double click here. So let me put it on the chart, just so everyone follows. I'm on a 4-hour chart from the low of A to the end of B. Double click. Your wave C should not be twice the length of A plus B. That really lowers the probabilities for a wave C. Now the 2 fib time is on the 29th of April, 10 a.m. So we still have 5 days. Serega, yes. Elliott Wave is actually on the higher time frames, is usually even better than the lower time frames. So we have our wave C. So then we're looking for a 5-wave structure. A 1, 2, and there we go, right? Then we have the bullish scenario, which can also be a bearish one. Remember this scenario that I showed earlier? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Let me put this on the chart in detail. You will recognize this as this is one of the bullish counts as well. So that is your, let me make this, I'm going to make it green here. And then we have our 1, 2, 3 sideways for 5 in white. So with 5, we finish 3, then we get a 4, a 5, end of C, end of X. This is the first time I show this, by the way. It's not the highest probability at the moment. But this is, everything you see now is, when I was walking outside, this is what I was thinking. So as a potential scenario, in case you do move straight down. So, and also people were asking, like, you know, is it possible? Yes. So we then have our A, we have our B, we're looking for a C, but preferably your C is not yet finished. And also here, you would still be looking locally for preferably a move towards the upside. And that is because it is actually very difficult to end an impulsive structure here. So when we just talk about an impulse, unrelated if this is a 1, 2 or 1, 2, 1, 2, whatever, if we want to try and end an impulse here, which therefore is a 5-wave structure, we have an incredible amount of overlap, but a diagonal is already invalidated. Remember, we had a diagonal potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but your wave 5 here is longer than your 3. You take a fib time from the low of your 2, high of 3, low of 4, 1 to 1 should be toggled on, and you can see this move is longer. We went above the 1 to 1, but wave 5 in a contracting diagonal is not allowed to be longer than 3. And 3 is shorter than 1, right? So 3 is the shortest, but that's not allowed. So therefore, impulse-wise, it makes more sense to still move up and then have either a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenario. But then you don't want to hit overlap here. Okay. The bearish alternative, which is in return still bullish, by the way. So wait, go back. So my arguably most bearish scenario, where you're going to be looking for this is an ending structure and a move down, means that the probabilities are still higher locally. You move up first and not down first. And after you go up, then you can go down. If price moves down first, it's actually more bullish. Because first of all, if this scenario is invalidated and we hit overlap here, we're going to be looking for a 1112 as the second alternative in that case. Let's see what Bitcoin is doing here. And if not for that scenario, hopefully I'm gonna talk to you about the probabilities, by the way, okay, as well at the end, so that we align everything, because it's a lot of info now. The arguably most bearish scenario is that this is a wave 1. This is a flat, man. I even feel awkward to talk about this as a flat, because oh boy, is it an ugly one. But then you have this as an A, this is your B, this is a C. And we take a fib from the high to the low of A, toggle on the expanding flat target, you know how it goes, off, off, off. The 1.618 is a uncommon target for a wave B in a expanding flat, and then we get C. And then after C, you would expect price to do that and move towards the upside. Now, the reason why this is so ugly is, first of all, the 1.618 is hit, which is a very uncommon target for a wave B in a flat. But secondly, and for me actually more important, is time. Take a fib time from the low to the high of 1, double click, and I probably by now have to put 12 here. 1 second, I think, like where are we now? Probably like 12. Yeah, we're at the 12 fib time, which means that this range, wave 2, right? If this is your wave 2, is currently 12 times longer than your wave 1, which is ridiculous. So, never say never. But the probabilities for this is not high, right? It's not high. It's not high. So because of time, your wave 2 is so long compared to your wave 1, and your B hit the 1.618, it really lowers probabilities for this scenario. And we're not even close to finishing this wave 2. We still have to move down. This has to be a wave 1, 2, and then we need a 3, 4, 5. We hit the 886 locally as well with this, which is, by the way, your third reason why the probabilities go down for this scenario, right? 1 is B hit the 1.618, 2 is time, and 3, if this is your high of B, we need a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, but your wave 2 hit the 886, as I explained earlier, which is a rare target for a wave 2, common for BRX, increasing probabilities to move towards the upside. So there's 3 reasons why this scenario has lower probabilities than the bullish scenarios, where this low holds and you first move up. Voila. Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, that's why I don't even show it. I like in the videos. This is a live stream type of thing. You know, I'm happy to show it in live stream so I can explain it. But this is not something that I will show in videos, man. Okay, right. I think that then leaves us with the probabilities, no? So on the weekly time frame, the probabilities are highest for the bullish scenario where we are working on this wave 4, potentially finished, and we're going to be looking up for a wave 5 ending 3, bigger multi-month range in a wave 4, and then eventually a wave 5 to the upside. On the 4-hour chart, the probabilities at the moment, as it stands at least, are highest for a finished regular flat and this low to hold at least for a significant amount of time, right? A couple of weeks, where either this move then, in the most bullish scenario, we're going to be looking for an impulse to the upside, right? Continuation. But even in the bearish scenario, higher probability bearish scenario, we would be looking for a 3-waver. In the alternative bearish scenario, you still actually want to move up first before down. If you go down first, it's actually more bullish. So you wanna take the highs before, before what? Before the low, this low here. So the probabilities on the 4-hour are highest that we have a finished regular flat structure, and we are looking at an impulse to the upside here, right? And then on the 1-hour, the probabilities, still the same, are higher to take this high before this low. It's all probabilities, right? We'll see what the chart is going to give us, but that is currently the highest probability from an Elliott Wave point of view, based on all the rules and the guidelines. So, yeah. Now, as locally, price is moving to the downside here, and we have some volume coming in. The biggest tip, the best thing you can do as an Elliott Wave analyst is to wait for a range, wait for price to show you a little bit of proof of support. We're not here to necessarily catch the high, catch the low, right? Those type of things. We just remain patient. Oh, here, look. You saw that? Maybe you have to go a few seconds back, but you saw the alarm flashing. That's something new. Never saw that before. I saw it earlier just now. So yeah. Now we might actually have overlap. Are we gonna have? Yeah, so we just created overlap here with this scenario. Overlap between 1 and 4. We don't want to see that in a wave 3, which means that this scenario now is invalidated. It's quite an interesting live stream today. So yeah. I'm not going to remove it just yet, but yeah, significantly reduced in probabilities. And then we can also look at this. We now hit the 0.5. So now we're entering common target areas for 2. Pull a range volume profile. Where's the old point of control? 1 second. I want to show you the older one. Benefit of doing this every day. 1 second. Move it back. Where was it? Somewhere here. Yeah. So the 786 is an important area, as here the point of control is in confluence with the daily. There we go. 64.9K. 786, by the way, is a common target area for a wave 2. And that is, of course, quite deep, but it is still a common target area. Now, before we get there, however, we first have a support resistance area. So we hit the 05, a little bit of a reaction. And this white box here, support resistance area just above the golden pocket, 65.4, 65.6K. So now we can keep an eye on this area. So now we hit the common target area, which means I can also remove the 382. Yeah. Bearish CVDs keep building, lower high, higher high, lower high, higher high. It's been like that the whole time, the whole morning already. So, but now we're starting to, look. We start to approach some areas of interest at least. Extend right. I also want to see the whole range. Okay, so we also, inside that support and resistance area, we have the value area high of the whole range here. So that's also an area of interest, of course, but that's in confluence with the support resistance area. So, yeah. With the 1112, I actually forgot to say this in the morning video. Not too great that your wave ones are getting longer every time. This one is the shortest, this one is longer in time, and this one is even longer in time. Usually it's the other way around, where your wave ones are actually becoming shorter. So if you do get a move towards the upside, you have your big 1, 2, smaller 1, 2, smaller 1, 2, up. And here we have longer in time, longer in time. It is something I have in mind, at least. I keep in mind. So it does affect the probabilities. Yeah, this one is longer than the 1-to-1. Also longer, yeah. So we might actually just invalidate both of the bullish scenarios. Lol. Imagine my head spin when I was walking outside turns out to be the the scenario playing out. So as mentioned, moving down on high volume from an Elliott Wave point of view, waiting for proof of support. Doesn't make any sense to try and catch lows and try to be a hero. All right, we leave that to the people with the biggest positions, the funds and stuff. So we are at the golden pocket now, moving down on high volume. We earlier just now, by the way, had some news as well at 2:30 p.m. Central European time. So yeah, let's see what the chart's going to give us. We are at the golden pocket, support resistance area. I don't know, we're still around it, but let's see what price does. No, volume definitely increasing here. So there's always the potential of a wave 3. But now, especially now, I just wait for proof of support. Right? It doesn't make sense for me to jump into this as we get like a move like this to the downside. So yeah, it's quite unfortunate that this bullish scenario is invalidated because that actually was the nicer one. I had this as a higher probability, this one. In my previous videos, right? On number 1, we had this one. And on number 2, we had the 1112. And the reason for that is because the wave 1s are bigger in time all the time. And also this wave 2 is bigger in time than previous wave 2s, while it is the lowest degree Elliott wave count, right? The white one. So I don't really like that about the 1112 scenario. One second, gonna check something else here, and then I'm coming to you, chat. Okay, so we also now hit this. Okay, so this is now invalidated. Expanding diagonals are very rare. So Well, I shouldn't remove it. Expanding diagonals are rare, but they can always still happen. But now that we hit the lower end of the channel here, a contracting diagonal is now invalidated, which of course is the most common diagonal pattern. So let me at least keep this on and then call this expanding. Now I still have a potential. The bullish scenario would be a double zigzag here, right? WX and then a Y. But yeah. So let's go into chat, by the way. Let me put the timer on and let's observe what is happening here, or the timer. Let me put the analysis on the chart. Feel free to ask questions, but of course my answer now is pretty simple, is we just wait for a range to form. Elliott Wave analysis at 18. There we go. Any textbooks for technical analysis? Well, my favorite books with regards to trading and money management and money, like just psychology of money as well, are in the description. I actually get questions about books a lot, so I made a whole list below the live stream in the description of my like the Elliott Wave book that I recommend, and then my favorite money/trading books, my favorite business books, and my favorite personal development books. And all of these I read. Of course, there's probably going to be more as I read more. So let me quickly move up. Well, one is the bullish scenario, right? One that we had is invalidate. You have overlap. The second invalidation would be 64.2K down here. Let me move up quickly, see if there's anything, because this is where we kind of left off. World of Crypto, how are you doing? So as volume is increasing, right? Potential C/3, right? We touched an 886. It's all probabilities. Get a bit of a move down. We're now at the golden pocket locally. Let me actually put this on the chart as well. But we moved with high volume into that golden pocket, right? We're already below the golden pocket, really. What's up, Christian? With a swing opportunity. With a swing opportunity, I mean like having a trade with a bigger stop loss, but a runner, one that where you really want price to move up. So when I have swing trades, and Diamond will know, because usually when I'm more with Elliott Waves, I tend to be more swingy. But if there's a day trading opportunity, I'll take it. Yesterday, I had a long opportunity here towards the upside, which was a nice bit of RR. This morning, I actually had another long, which got stopped, and that happens. Still overall profit from this range, which is in the end what we're looking for. So that's very nice. And now that we just move towards the downside, wait for a new opportunity if we get it. And if this support here is not holding, and we do move down with a very high amount of volume here, the probabilities, of course, increase to look for the lows here, which invalidates the 1112 scenario as well. Which, as mentioned, I don't really like that each lower degree wave 1 is actually larger in time. So as explained in the analysis earlier, so we might be looking for a downside. Exciting times. So swing opportunity. Usually a bigger stop loss, but also the rewards are bigger. So I had before I went on holiday in March, I had two trades. One was around 40K, the other at around 44K, and those were sold at like 65. And those were in Diamond. Of course, now I do things publicly as well. So setups that I that I trade myself. You know, they're public, but only because I want to explain how to trade Elliott Waves. It's the top link in the description, and hopefully people learn how to trade Elliott Waves because I explain the why behind an entry, yeah, hopefully it helps people with trading. The two biggest trades I had, however, in this trend so far, when we talk about swing opportunity swakse, right, is, let me actually put this on, because and then you start to know what I mean if there's a swing opportunity. So we landed on my target box down here. My first entry was in here. The second one was in here, right? And yeah, just no weakness, no weakness, no weakness. We just up, 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 up. And then eventually I sold it here, because this was 2 days before I got married, and I was abroad, I was on holiday, and I was like, yeah, also potential range forming, because we had a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5 type of thing. I was like, I'm good, you know, let me just get rid of everything. And then when I came back, price was at the exact same place. So swing opportunity is those type of moves where you're looking at a structure to potentially end, and then a continuation of the trend where you can really hold a position for a long duration, which is really the power, I suppose, of Elliott Waves. Those are the ones that you really want to get. We now hit the daily level, which means we also have the point of control as shown earlier at the exact same level, and the 786 over here. Not like let's see, but we are moving in with a lot of volume, so I would be quite surprised at the moment if this would hold. Up. Yeah, so I answered this one. I would like to ask if you ever look at the Elliott Wave on the monthly chart. Yes. So if you go to my channel, I have a playlist where every Sunday I cover the macro. Wait. I think I actually forgot about it last Sunday. What happened? How did that happen? Not that anything changed. Yeah. Oh, interesting. But yeah, every Sunday, usually, I make a video or a live stream, and I cover the macro as well, which is also including the monthly chart. Yes. Correct, Driftholics. That is also why I like to use like level by level, but yeah, we are solidly moving down now though. 68k touch first before going down. Now we just wait for proof of support, of course. Wave 5 to the downside. 1 2 3 4. I know which one I think you're talking about. Let me put that one on the chart in a second. I work during the market open to get out of the middle of this current range. Well, I guess we're kind of at least out of that range. Couldn't it be possible on the 1 hour and above? Yes, absolutely. That scenario is quite nutty. Yeah, it's an interesting one, but it's not easy to count your impulsive ending structure there. So preferably this then becomes a corrective structure, right? You have your A, potentially B, C, something like that. But now that price is here, I just wait for a price to range, and when price is eventually ranging, that is when I reanalyze the chart. I will check this one. Cheers, Martsiki. Yeah, so you have to watch out with the 1112, right? We don't want 64.2 to be taken. That's your invalidation. Dumpy Booty Boy, how you doing? How you doing? Cheers, mate. Correct, 7 crypto. But don't forget the 1112, right? Each wave 1 is longer in time than the previous one, which is not ideal. So what I am looking for now here is proof of support. So there is the potential, of course, for continuation. What I now want to see is if I pull a fib, right, from one of these highs to the low. I don't want the 618 touched because currently the highest amount of volume is in the low, which is also wave C-ish, right, whenever that happens. So if we have, I'll prefer to pull it then here to the low, 618, which is pretty much at the order block as well. There we go. So I took it from this one because we're looking for a 2. So arguably this is your highest wave 2. I can also pick this pivot, but I prefer to pick a little bit higher so I have a bit more margin. Else the 618 is a little lower. So the highest 618 gives me a bit more trust. So it's taken from 2 to the low of a potential 3 in an impulse. And if price bounces to the 618, that is when it reduces probabilities for this to be an impulse. But then we're going to be looking for corrective structure and ending on high volume, which is wave C-ish as well. Wave C's like to do that. So the 618 is at currently 66.1K, which invalidates a wave 4. That is then what we're looking for, right? So we're looking for then a bounce up, invalidating a wave 4. As long as you don't hit it, you can just continue to the downside for a 4 and then a 5. So that is something like when we talk about proof of support and things from an Elliott Wave point of view that help with trading, right? The 886 is important, the 618 is important. And there's more like little tricks. The 0.7 invalidating a double zigzag, which was the reason for my long that I had here. So I had a long, which was also shared in diamond here. The moment the 0.7 was hit, right, I was looking for price to move towards the upside. It's usually those type of things like invalidations. What's up, Sherry? How you doing? Always welcome, my friend. Always welcome. There's lots to learn there as well. Ask the diamonds. Wave 3 tomorrow, wave 4 in the weekend. Gabriel, 64.9, 65.2. 64.9 is where we are now. Yeah, that is the biggest support area that we have. It's literally where we are right now. So we have the daily here, point of control, 786. Still a common target area for a 2, even though the 112, each one gets longer, but this is where you want to see it hold. Hitting the 886, and that wouldn't be good. Because the 886 is a rare target for a wave 2, which would increase probabilities to then take this low sooner or later. So, how long are you waiting and how exactly can you say it's support? So what I like to see is on a 15-minute time frame, I like to see a range forming, and I can give examples as price is pushing towards the 886. Even towards the upside here, we can, now price is moving down, but also here, price moves up quickly. I want to wait for a range, and the range will give me all the information I need. Is it impulsive? Is it corrective? What are the fib retracements and the extensions? And that is where I can enter new positions or invalidations, right? So what I'm looking for is a range. Price moving up, I wait for a range to form, giving me a next opportunity, right? And then I'm going to be looking for a pump or a dump and then a next range to form. So I would be looking for on the 15-minute time frame. So I'm now on the 1 hour, but at least on the 15-minute time frame, I want to see a range forming, right? So that will take a couple of hours easily. Yes. And then based on that range, I can analyze that range and then look for the highest probability and then trade the highest probability in that particular range. And luckily for me, most often that's correct and sometimes that's wrong. So yeah, I had one long here where it was a scalp at the low. People in the setups channel will know. And that was a great move up, right? But we didn't get continuation. But luckily I TP'd here and I TP'd here as it was a scalp. And then this morning, I actually aimed for another move towards the upside and my stop was down here, which got hit. So yeah, last 2 days, 1 win, 1 loss, overall profit in plus. So good days, no? But it's been a while since I had a loss, because this move here was a win. That was, I think, my latest entry before I then entered here again, if I'm not mistaken. I gotta check Diamond, because that's where I share the setups, but now it's public. It's first link in the description is where I share the setups that I take, but also explain why, and that's the key. Why am I interested in that particular setup? Diamond is a lot more about where I share trade management, my personal strategy, helping people to develop a strategy, that sort of stuff. We have someone here, Mike D. Welcome to the Bronze Club. Thanks for your support. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. Welcome to the team. Yeah, correct. I mean, if you have a 100% win rate, you're a magician. I want to know. 1112 invalidated? Not yet. You're getting close though. Is this ending of? So let me poof. We are now pretty much at the lows. So answering question. Ed, I answered the textbooks. Can you name? I kind of did this on the monthly chart. Oh, that's the cycle chart. Of course, locally now things are interesting, but on a monthly chart, the cycle count for now, as I'm curious here. Are we going to the? I'll shortly put it on the stream. Let me put the alarm here, because I just want to know what price is doing locally. I'm not going to go through a whole Elliott Wave analysis, because literally nothing has changed compared to the live stream and the monthly that I did here, the count that I did there, right? So it's still exactly the same. Now I like to use Bitstamp, by the way. I know on index there's lower lows, and I took these into account with my counting as well, so do not worry. And that is why I always have a text box in my chart, which is this one. And then we have the bullish one. Where is it? Poof. So the most bullish one is a 1112, and then eventually moving up, right, for another wave 1, another 2, and up. So that is your bull market. The alternative to this is that you have your 1 2 1 2, right, and then you're looking here. So 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, and that is then a 1 and a 2. But it's pretty much the same price action. So that is why I don't really like to cover 2 bullish scenarios, because in the end, you're moving above this high, you expect a bigger retracement and then you continue up. So it's pretty much the same price action, bull market followed by bear market. And the bearish scenario is you have 5 waves finished and you look for a bigger move down, right, in a 3-wave structure, where on the weekly, that is what I did explain in this live stream. You're going to be looking for a running flat at the moment if you want this to be your high and price to move down below 15K. Right. So that is pretty much it. And as long as we don't see local, meaning daily chart, weekly chart, signs of weakness, the bullish scenarios have higher probabilities, meaning you're going to be looking for another 1 2, which I have here, right? Or you have your 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. This is then your third, right? 1 2, and then you move up. Or by the way, 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, there's so many options. But it's all the same on the monthly chart, because it changes so slow. It's just, yeah, you move up and then eventually you move down, but it's mainly the 4-hour chart giving us the info. So probabilities, in other words, are higher to move up than moving down. So that is pretty much what we're saying here. Click the wrong chart. So we have a bit of support here. 786 is hit. So let me also, let me keep the golden pocket on the chart. So we now ended on the highest amount of volume. Let me also move this accordingly. There we go. Hitting the 618. And we're going to be looking for the highs to be taken. As the probabilities then change towards the upside. It's all probabilities. Not yet, Jilik. Not yet. You first have to move below 64.2, which we haven't invalidated yet. That is not yet the highest probability, 56 or 52. If you do have, so when we do talk about the bearish scenario, which I explained earlier, 56 is reasonable, 52 is still very, very far off. It's getting close to the invalidation on the weekly time frame, even for the bullish scenarios. Crazy potato, that is because the link in the first link, that is only the after. That's not the before. That's only where I share the after. So if I did something and then afterwards I share it there without explanation. And then the second link, that is where it's before. And I also explain why. We can't say that, mate. Yeah. Don't catch a falling knife. Why is it dropping that bad? Should I sell? No emotions, right? Price is dropping. We have a bit of a move to the downside, but let the chart show us what it wants to do, right? We read what the chart does. First of all, it does help if you have a plan. So have a plan, have a strategy, and then trade your strategy. So the 6 steps that I always recommend, and I can recommend it to anyone, is if you want to avoid emotional involvement in trading and have a higher chance of being a consistently profitable trader, follow these 6 steps. And you're not going to enjoy most of these steps, but if you want to get there and have a good probability of becoming a consistently profitable trader, I very much recommend following this. So step 1, right, is try as many free tools as you can. Free tools as you can, right? Some indicators, the tools in TradingView. Step 2, build statistics on some of your favorite tools. By getting experience with the tools, some of your tools will be your favorites. Build statistics on them. Get your Excel sheet out or whatever software you want to use. I use Excel. And build statistics. Write a statement, right? And then just build statistics on what happens if, right? If X happens, then yes or no, right? If the golden pocket is hit, does it act as support? Yes, no. How much is the bounce, right? Statement. If it holds, it's a 1% bounce. Yes, no, right? You just check statistics. You can do this back testing and then also forward testing. So step 2, find your favorite tools, build statistics. Step 3, combine some of these favorite tools, right, that prove to have nice statistics, and now build statistics on the combination. That's your step 3. Now you're working on the strategy, right, because now you're combining things. Step 4 is tweaking and adjusting the tools. Add something new, remove something, try to improve your risk-reward ratio or your win rate. Now we're trying to improve the strategy. And then step 5, that is where you're actually going to trade the strategy, right? And you're going to work on trading psychology. Start with a low amount is step 5, like low money, little money. Doesn't make any sense if you're new in this industry to start with a lot of money, right? Not at all. There's a great chance you're going to lose it all. So as a trader, maybe investing is different in a way, or DCAing all the way, but you know what I mean. So step 5 is start trading with a low amount of money. Work on your mind, right? Work on your head. And I very much always recommend this book. Let me quickly check the webcam here. So Mental Game of Trading, Jared Tendler. Link in the description. This is by far, for me, the best trading psychology book I have ever read. It has a system in it. It covers all the different aspects that you will deal with as a trader. And psychology, for me, is most important, because you can have the best strategy, but if your psychology is messed up, you're going to be a losing trader anyway. So work on your psychology. The Mental Game of Trading, right? Jared Tendler. And yeah, the link is in the description, in the book list that someone asked a question earlier, so I put it in there. It's an amazing book. I've read it twice, then made a summary the third time, and then I started to do the exercises back in the day, and it really helps with psychology. So that's step 5. And then step 6 is you increase your portfolio size, right? And preferably slowly, because you have to get used to the bigger losses. Getting used to bigger wins is easy, but getting used to bigger losses is not so easy. So those are the 6 steps. So in a nutshell, try as many free tools as you can. Find your favorite tools, build statistics on them, combine some of these favorite tools, build statistics on the combination, tweak and adjust, add something, remove something, improve your RR or win rate, start trading it with a low amount of money, work on your psychology, and number 6 is increase your portfolio size slowly to get used to bigger losses, which is kind of also mindset again. So, BTC Racer. Yeah, I might let me first get to the bottom of chat here before I go into other platforms. Oh, because of the giveaway. Good point, Jillik. Yeah, it's because of we hit 10K. Yeah, that's why. On Sunday we hit 10K, so I didn't think about doing a macro update. Thank you. I feel a lot better now. Yeah, maybe a band-aid. Hopefully the dog did better than the chart, though. Boerboom. Okay, Tim, what's up? How you doing, Tim? Action-filled stream. Yeah, absolutely. People just lazy to be. Cheers, Martsiki. Kanokwan Sing Some, just discovered your channel and I'm in love. Welcome to the channel. Happy to hear you like it. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. Enjoying some Elliott Waves, just watching the chart together now, of course, and we're looking for some proof of support, a bit of a range to form, of course, keeping an eye on the CVD at the same time, but this is not enough information for me. I also prefer to use CVD on the 15-minute. If we do zoom out, for the sake of zooming out, and on the 1 hour, we do now have bullish CVD divergences with the low. And on blue, not yet. Blue, not yet. Makes me actually wonder on the 15-minute. What's happening on the 15-minute here? Ooh. So we have bullish divergences with the low here as well, right? So we do have some bullish CVD divergences. We are quite close to the low, of course. I mean, arguably, if we have a little look, we are at like what? 1%, pretty much 1% here. So, but we are at support at the moment, and yeah, let's see what price gives us while it's here. Exciting stream. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, it's nice to have a little bit of action as well, right? I'm gonna park you here for a short second. So it's nice to see something happening on the chart as well. Of course, it was a little bit silent the past couple of days, just going sideways. But yeah, I like the fact that price is now actually doing something. Checking Discord as well, as I got tagged here. BTC Racer, where did you tag me? So you can't tag me if you want me to look at anything, then it's got to be in the general chat here, or in general chat, or Bitcoin TA, of course, as we are focusing on Bitcoin here. Peter, thank you. Cheers, man. It's great to be part of the growth. You were one of the 10K. Yeah, yeah. It's quite spectacular how everything happened in such a short amount of time. So in about a year, reaching 10K, a little bit longer, but I was gone in March. So arguably 1 year and 1 month. Yeah, incredible. Thanks everyone. It's fascinating. It was a great giveaway stream and stuff as well. I did learn my lessons on how to organize a giveaway for so many people. And for the people that won a product, you got an email. I need to know your size. I'm going to make a whole overview and then bulk order everything this week, at least if I get an answer from all of you, because I want to do it all at the same time. And then I'm probably going to get a whole bus myself here. And then from my house, I then send it to everyone respectively. What scenarios remain if the price goes below 64,200? Will there be... The bullish one would be a flat. It's an ugly one though, but that's pretty much it. It's not easy, or it doesn't really work ending a structure here because you have a lot of overlap. So bullish scenarios... in that case is either you, and this, I don't like this scenario at all, right? A, B, or sorry, 1, lol, 1, A, B, C, flat 2. I don't know, I'm not a fan. It's such a big wave 2 compared to such a short wave 1. I would prefer to end an impulse here and then move down. But because of all the overlap here, we have to think about diagonals, but your wave 5 is longer than your wave 3, which is not allowed, only in expanding diagonals, but your wave 1 is also longer than 3, which doesn't work, because in an expanding diagonal, 3 has to be longer than 1. So a diagonal here doesn't actually work. So the only diagonal that you can have now is an expanding one on the chart. And of course, expanding diagonals are less common, where you're going to be looking for something like this, right? So you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what I like to do in general is, wait for a range now. From an Elliott Wave point of view, that makes the most sense. How long did the charts typically take to show forms of weakness on the daily, weekly, monthly in order to? It's kind of like it starts on a 4 hour, I suppose. 4 hour is where you start, and once probabilities on a 4 hour start to turn more bearish, it could have an effect on the daily. But in this case, on the daily, you would need to hit 49.3K before turning bearish. Yeah. Cheers, Dexter. Yeah. Okay. We're almost there. Well, no, we're currently at support, and we take it level by level, right? We take it level by level. We're at a little bit of support here, daily 786. There's a point of control in this area as well. So it's a nice area to keep an eye on. And you want to hit the 618 from an Elliott Wave point of view, as the 618 here would invalidate a wave 4. So that would be more bullish. If you move up and hit the 618 now, that would be a bullish sign to then look for the highs and look for resistance. So as long as this holds, of course, level by level, we're currently at support. Right? If this support fails, we're going to be looking down, and then the next area of support here is pretty much 63K. Yeah, 63.9. Mental game of trading, do the opposite of what you're feeling. Yeah, that's unfortunately not really how it works, of course. Would have been interesting if that was the case. No, just do the opposite. But yeah. I'm reading it right now. It really helps to have a mental strategy. Yeah, that is what you're developing, right? The moment you know why you make mental mistakes, and you realize the steps, that you take unconsciously, but it becomes conscious by working on it, the steps you take unconsciously in the beginning that eventually lead to the bigger mistakes from a psychology point of view, that's where you make the big gains. You know? On a real note, it's truly a pleasure to listen to your analysis. It must take a lot of time to prepare such quality material, explaining and answering all kinds of questions. Hats off to you. Thanks, Mar77. Cheers. Thank you. By the way, Mar77, Marquez by any chance? But yeah, thank you for the kind words, man. It's of course it's a couple of years of doing Elliott Waves and studying Elliott Waves day in day out, pretty much, and that is why answering questions also about Elliott Waves don't take a lot of time because it, you know, once you know it, it's easy. I don't have to look things up, if you know what I mean. But yeah, thank you. Glad you liked the analysis, and preparation depends on the chart, but yeah, I prefer to do like less is more. So the altcoin streams are the first Sunday of the month, and usually the other days I focus on Bitcoin, as you know, I prefer to focus on one chart, put all my time there, because Elliott Waves does take a lot of time. Yeah. Takes a lot of time, but thank you, man. 212 Moe, congrats on the 10k. What is the highest probability bearish count? The highest probability bearish count is for me to actually quickly close my windows, as it's getting cold now, so it's getting bearish in the room. We can always do some pull-ups, right? If we want to get warm. But oh yeah, highest probability bearish scenario. We got to go to the 4 hour. Let me. What's this one? Oh yeah, we can turn that off. I'll leave the rest on. So we have this one over here, which might change because we invalidated a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means I would have to look into this, because for a wave X or B, we want a 3-wave structure. And that starts usually with a zigzag. An ABC zigzag is most common in an X or a wave B. Right? So preferably you're still looking for a move up, if this is your low of AW in a regular flat. Now at the moment, this one still has a higher probability, and then we have my my walking outside head spin, where I was thinking about the chart, and then I don't know, this just entered my brain, where let's actually go to the 4 hour, where we have another, so a WXY here, and now this is invalidated here, this impulse, but it doesn't necessarily, so we need a C, we need an impulse, that's the thing. So we do want to end with a wave C here. So that's going to be interesting for my analysis later, because we do want a 5-wave count actually in a C to end this scenario, but we can't really end something here because wave 3 is the shortest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to end a diagonal there. And wave 3 is the shortest, not allowed in a contracting diagonal. So we might have to look into the direction of expanding diagonals now, where now your invalidation is this low, right? Or you look for an A, B, C, but I don't like the flat myself. But then you're looking for a 3-wafer, which, no, wait, remove that. We can't look for a 3-wafer because wave C. So here is a WXY, sideways double combo, flat X, and then wave Y being a zigzag or a triangle with in wave X a flat as well. So W flat, X flat, Y zigzag or triangle. But preferably also in this X, you still actually make another high, because it's so difficult. It's not even difficult. It doesn't work to end an impulse here. So and here we would be looking for a C. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah. Yeah, so we might have to go into expanding diagonals, which is rare. But the other stuff starts to fill, which is always what I say. You know, expanding diagonals, very rare, never preferred unless all of the other stuff fails. And that is, of course, we have the 111, which is most bullish, but that's not bearish. So for your bullish scenario, preferably you still have a high to finish a C, because this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, you can't have this as a 3, 5 longer than 3, 1 longer than 3. That's not allowed. So we would still be looking for another high, where we then probably have to look for expanding structures and expanding diagonal, where then your invalidation becomes this low. And the most bullish scenario is now 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Where your invalidation is this low. Jay Green, so if we break through 64,200, do the probabilities change in the bearish direction? I understand that bullish options will not be ideal in this case. 64,200, oh, that's that low, yeah. So I kind of, I suppose, explain it in a way. So with the bearish scenario, let me zoom out here. So preferably this is your W, and then you have your X and Y, but your X needs to end in this case in a 5-wave structure, which we can't. We can't at the high. So the only alternative to make it very bearish, to go straight down, is to have your W end here, have this as a finished X, and then move down in a zigzag or triangle Y. But your wave X is incredibly short compared to W, which means the proportion is very off, because preferably structures have at least a relationship with one another, being the 382 fib time taken from the start to the end of W to compare with X, comparing W with X. And we're not even close to the 382, which is sitting on the 2nd of May. So therefore, the probabilities are low that this is the end of an X and you move down in a Y, which then brings me, and this is also, it's a little bit the same, but this brings me to, where's that scenario? I have it somewhere in my folders here. Nope. That brings me to this. Oh, it's also ugly though, but you know. Let me remove time here for a second. Let me, 1, 2, from the high to the low. Oh, we just missed out on the hitting that 618. It's not a pretty scenario. 1 second, just counting here. If this is still, it's been a while since I checked this one out. But also here, it's just, we would be looking for a flat. So actually you still want to make another high, but then you invalidate wave 4. As the invalidation is the 618 from the high to the low. For a wave 4 in an impulse, besides wave 4 being incredibly long, if this is the low of 3 and this is 4, lowers the probabilities. Take a fib time from the low of 1 to the high of 2 to the low of 3, toggle on the wave 4, and we made the high on the 6 fib time. Yeah, on top of the 6 fib time, which is really reducing probabilities for a wave 4. Besides, we can't end this as an impulse. So then we need this to be a wave 3, but then we still have a flat. A, B, C. So we still need a C, which means then we have to move this up here, and then this is the low of a 3. So I'm now doing live analysis because I'm pretty much talking to myself. So that means we then have a 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your 5, and your 5 is then a ending diagonal structure in wave 3. But then the problem becomes that if that is the end of 3 and we move the fib down from the high of 2 to the low of 3 and toggle on the target area for a wave 4, you already hit the 0.618, which is an invalidation for a wave 4. You know, so that's not really something that we can look for. With regards to having a 3 down here, which is also the reason why I prefer the WXY over this here still being part of an impulse, because it, you know, you can't. Your 618 is now too low if this is the low of your 3. And then you need to count this move up correctively, and that then means you need a 3-wave structure. And if that, so besides this already, so you have a wave 4 in that case, right? Wave 4 and then 5 down, but you hit the 618. Then you need a finished 3-wave move here. You need to look for probably an A, B, and then a wave C to the upside. Oh no, not an ABC. You're going to be looking for a WXY. Oh. Okay. 1 second. 1 second here. 1 second. 1 second. I do not. W, X, Y, A, B, C. No, doesn't work. So I want to off. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's the question. Okay, so you're always gonna take the low. Okay, so there you go. Cool. Your most bearish scenario is that. So, so this is what happens when I do my analysis. When something hits me, I just have to execute. So, your question. Ending something here for me would only be possible with a WXY, where you have a zigzag X zigzag, and your wave Y hit the 0.618 taken from the low to the high of W to the low of wave X, so that is valid, right? So that's a valid target area. And then that can be the end of X, where then wave Y can be a zigzag, as your wave W over here is regarded a flat structure. Wave Y in a sideways double combo, by the way, should be a zigzag or a triangle. Yes. And likely you're going to take the low in that case. Now, wave X is very short, didn't hit the 0.382 Fib time. So preferably, actually your wave X is not yet finished. But the thing is, you're always going to take the low if you start with a WXY, because then this has to be an ABC. So you're going to be looking for a flat. With an A, a WXY, then you get B, either zigzag or double zigzag, and then you move up for a C, which is then the end of your X, and then you move down for Y, which also gives X a bit of a higher target. Fib from the high to the low. What are we at? We just missed, oh, that's the 0.5 that we hit. Yeah, so we hit the 0.5. Yeah. So your one bullish scenario is invalidated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overlap between 1 and 4. Then you have the triple 1, 2, but it's a bit awkward because of each wave 1 being longer. So therefore, there's the opportunity for a WXY. But in that case, you're looking for either a zigzag down, ABC, to finish a Y. Or, and that might actually be preferred, your wave X is going to take longer and you're in a flat. A, take the lows for B, move up impulsively for C, faking everyone out because we're not bullish, then move down for Y again in a zigzag, and then you move up. Whoa, that would be an absolutely mindfuck. That would be amazing. Yeah. Holy shit. Yo. Yeah, that's your bearish scenario. A double zigzag. WXY. There you go. Live Elliott Waves ASMR. Well, you're going to be seeing this in the videos coming up. So in both cases, you're going to take the low in that case. So because you're either looking for a flat. A WXY, this can't be a W. It's not allowed, internal WXY. So it has to be an A. In a bigger X, where X then ends after the 382 for A, B, and then C. If you know, yeah. The probabilities would only increase if you take 64.2, but that was the question. Yeah. You love the scenario? Yeah, not bad, eh? Yeah, not bad. What's CVD doing? Ooh, still bearish CVD divergences. On the AGGR chart, we actually took the low. On Bitcoin, we also took the low. Arguably, we're now below the support resistance area here. Did we touch the 886 already? Not yet. Yo. A WXY is not allowed in a W. Wave W can only be a simple structure, which therefore is regarded as a zigzag or a flat. And wave Y can only be a zigzag, flat, or a triangle, but wave Y cannot be a zigzag if wave W is already a zigzag. That's the only thing that it can't do. So, but in this case, wave W is a flat in the scenario I just showed, which then means that because your W is a flat, your wave Y can be a flat, zigzag, or a triangle. But you still expect the low to be taken, and then this is a double zigzag to the upside. Yeah, that is pretty much then what we're looking for. Yeah. That would be my 4-hour bearish scenario. I should walk outside more often. It leads to good things. Yeah. Now we didn't yet touch the 886, which would invalidate a wave 2 though. And then touching that, you do have probabilities increasing to move towards the downside, to at least move below the X we have here, 62.9. $2%, $1,700. Yeah. Solid. Okay, yeah, so wow, that answers your question. God, I love chatting and Q&A. You know, makes me think. Holy moly, could you consider? Yeah, so I kind of answered this now. I don't even know who was the one with the question. Jay Green. Oh yeah, this is where it started. Yeah, so yeah, cheers, Jake. Because yeah, that pretty much is now now we got a bearish scenario. Cheers, Wahab Akmal. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. What do you see, ETH? I think one day such a project could arise. The reason I, by the way, have the 886 and golden pocket on my chart is price, once you hit an 886, it does like to retest a golden pocket. So it's just interesting to observe if that happens again, yes or no. 57K, yeah. Yeah, Salman, if you want me to check anything, make sure to put it in either Gold Lounge or BTCTA or General Chat. George, how you doing, man? Visual ASMR, yeah, there you are. Being a C or a 1-2-1, yeah. Cheers, Andrew. Yeah, like once you're, so it hit me when I was looking at the move up from 60 to the high that we have here. There is a potential for a double zigzag. Your W is very short, has to be said, but at least there is the potential for. So that would then be your bearish scenario. So the moment I thought about the WXY up, double zigzag, hitting a wave B hits the 302, which is a common target for a wave B. Your wave Y is above the 0.618, which is a valid target. That would be the bearish scenario. Yeah, I don't know, people crashing or people selling, people getting stopped. Yeah, that sort of stuff, I suppose. It's just like, so for me, it's just buying, selling, people getting stopped out, absorption of market longs with limit shorts. So it's not necessarily fear, of course. It's selling, liquidations. Probably open interest is moving down as price moved down here as well. Cheers, everyone. What do you think about the triangle now in this drop on the 5-minute? I don't really follow the 5-minute. On the M5, yeah, that's too local for me. But if it would be a triangle, then it's a wave 4, because a triangle by itself can't be a wave 2 corrective structure. The bullish scenario, 1112 or the flat, but the flat is very ugly. So I covered the flat in the analysis. Let me actually unpin this message, because I think the analysis arguably we just did with the newest info is arguably, you know, a bit, maybe I have to redo it. But yeah, usually I do this off stream, get everything ready and then record a video. Because the 18 minutes, I mean, price moved down now. So, you know, things already played out. Let me just, if people come in, I'll just, yeah, do that. And if new people come in and ask questions, I can answer them. So, bullish scenario, yeah, so 1112, but you don't want to hit the 886, that invalidates it. Plus each wave one is longer than the previous one, which is not great. And then you have the flat, which I explained earlier, which is also not great. So, and then the bullish scenario would be an expanding diagonal. So that would be your bullish scenario. And in this particular scenario, you actually want price, right, to move. Still right, to the 618, because that invalidates a wave 4. So here, if we are looking for an impulse down, you want to move up, hit the 0.618, and then the probabilities change to take the high. For now, we are below support though. So we didn't yet touch the 886 here. Yeah. So yeah, that would be expanding structures, really. But as long as you don't take 64.2, yeah. Yeah. But expanding structures are rare though. So patience. See what, you know, always wait and see what price is gonna give us, I suppose. Yeah. Wait for a bit of a range to form. One minute bull CVD, but you know, this is very low time frame stuff. But it's something, I suppose. Wow. What happened in that candle? Either someone pressed the sell button and got massively absorbed, or someone exited a long manually. That's a crazy in candle CVD on a 1 minute. Can I refresh it? Oh, huh? What's happening there? Still ranging on top of the 786 though, without touching the 886. Anushri, Anu, welcome. Good to have you here. Welcome to the channel. My name is Koen, 31 years young, I suppose, and from the Netherlands. Welcome. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Lowry, enjoy your sleep on the other side of the world, Australia. Getting hungry. Yeah, I'm probably going to eat a little bit as well after this, though. I had lunch before. Broodje beenham. Nice. The confirmation would increase if you take now it's not a confirmation, it's all probabilities, right? So taking 64.2k would at least increase probabilities, because an expanding diagonal is rare and the flat for the bulls looks very ugly. So that is where it would increase. And if you move up and hit the 618 at 66k, that is when probability switch to taking the highs. Raquel Brimel, how are you doing? Welcome. What's up, Tim? Marco, welcome. Good to have you here as well. Raquel, hello from the... Oh, wait, we were there. What was the question? Bettina, 30 minutes triangle. I don't see... Do you mean this? But no, A, B, C, C above A, that's not allowed. So it must be here somewhere, but there's no probabilities for a triangle here. I'm not sure if this is A, B, C, D, E, but no, that's a triangle here is... It's not something that I would be looking for, at least here. Myself, I don't see a triangle. Or you're talking about this structure, but I wouldn't count this a triangle myself. Yeah. And also that would have been a wave 4, but now you have overlap with 1 as well, which is not what we want to see if this is all still part of a wave 4. So it looks better as either an ABC or a bigger impulse, I suppose. What do you think? This all is wave 1 and now we're in corrective wave 2? Well, actually with an impulse, you can't end an impulse here. So if you move below here, probabilities increase for the bearish scenario. But the only impulsive structure that you can think of, you're going to have 2. If you move below 64.2 is an expanding diagonal. So you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Or you have your flat. This is your 1, 2, 3. But then you want price to move actually below 62.9. And an expanding diagonal is very rare and never preferred. So yeah, taking the low here and validating a 111.2, that would be that would increase probabilities to the downside as well. And then it's just level by level, seeing what happens. Because an expanding diagonal is rare and the flat is very ugly. Because the flat, for 3 reasons, wave B hit the 1.618, wave A, B, C for a 1, 2, 3, wave 2 is incredibly long in time. And you hit an 886 up here as well. But especially time and the 1.618, those are the 2 main ones. So then probabilities will change for a potential W, X, and then a Y double zigzag and look for a move down. Now there's still the potential here for A, B, C return, right? But then you want to see the 618 hit at 66.1k. Arguably, actually, I should pull it from a little bit higher. 1, 2, let's put it here. Old all-time high, 2021. Dairymex Crypto, welcome. Above 69k, yeah, then we definitely need a a little bit of pepper in the arse, as we say in the Netherlands, to get up. Today, Bitcoin bearish? I mean, yeah, we have a move to the downside here. So arguably today, If you would open trading view, then the numbers are red. So yeah, the bullish scenario that this is the local low. Preferably yes. Else we're gonna think into expanding structures and the flat. But an expanding diagonal is rare, and the flat target would be below wave A. Preferably is below 62.9k, and it's not pretty. So there's still hope left. Footprint chart option on trading view and TPO. I think TPO is for the pro. If you buy pro, right? I haven't seen the footprint option actually. Might want to check it out. Triangle in the top, like B. Yeah, so it must be here, this area, where you're looking for a triangle. But I am not looking for a triangle here. This. Inside the ABC. A, B, C. Oh, A, B. Oh, okay, I see. Well, your B, and I think in Discord someone mentioned this already. I think Stuba actually. In that case, your A is more like it's more an impulse up or an impulsive structure, and I would count this as an ABC flat. That was actually during the live stream. So this looks very much like an impulse, not a three-wave structure. And you can't have a flat in a triangle. So therefore, a triangle for me is by just because of that structure already invalidated. Where then I'm looking for a flat here in that case. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have a flat, a zigzag, and then you have this. Now this one is interesting. Where, of course, now the price moved down. So this move has to be a corrective structure, not an impulsive structure, of course. I mean, we already had overlap here as well. Right? Yes. So W, X, Y. But if this is a W, this is an X. You can't have a WXY and wave Y, so then I would like A, B, C, which then is a flat. Flat A, zigzag B, 5 wave C, overlap, so we have to think about diagonals in that case. Ending your C, which is a running flat, which I mentioned in the morning update, is very rare, but it is something we talk about. A, B, C, C not taking the high of A, running flat. Yeah, that's not really something you see every day. So yeah, definitely some interesting stuff going on, of course, with regards to the price section and everything that is happening here. Now we hit the 886. Okay, there we go. So we finally actually hit the 886. Was about time. Where's chat? Where's chat? Oh, here you are. So a 1112 is now a low probability. I love short streams. I know. Let's see if price wants to retrace to the golden pocket or if it doesn't, because that's actually a target that is common. After an 886 touch. What's up, Iliagos? Multiple 122 is not possible due to the 886. Yes, so now the 886 is hit. Very rare for a wave 2. So a 1112 now has a lower probability and, of course, increases the probabilities for further downside as well. Could it be a running flat and not an expanding one? Yes, but when we talk about probabilities, a running flat is the rarest flat. So we have 3 flats, right? You have an expanding flat, A, B, C. You have a running flat, A, B, C. And you have, regular flat. And I have the running flat, A, B, C. Most common, uncommon, rare. So therefore, a running flat will never be your highest probability scenario unless all the other stuff is going to fail. So now I can actually put my target boxes on and see if we get some reaction here. We have a blue box. What do I have here? Oh, 1 point of control. It's not too great. Weekly naked point of control just below. Let me pull this from the low to the high. Standard. So where are we? The 0.5 has confluence with the weekly naked point of control. Not too, like, there's not too much like confluence. The golden pocket is something I like, but it's quite far down still, which means pretty, below 62.9, of course, as you can see. So, still hanging around at 886. See what price does if it moves back to the golden pocket, yes or no. Koen, can you explain one more time your sparkling bearish, which just came up? Yeah. Regular flat in W. Wave X preferably ends after the 0.382 Fib time taken from the high to the low of W, just to have the proportions between the waves nice. But then here we are counting a WXY double zigzag to the upside. Now this is either your end of X and you go down for Y, or this is a wave A. But in a so a WXY can't be a subdegree of a wave W. So it has to be, in that case, a wave A, but then you have to automatically think about a flat, because this is a 3 wave, not a 5 wave. And for a flat, you want to see the low taken. So it doesn't matter if we count the high as an X or an A. In both cases, you look for the low. And then the reaction you get here is what will decide A, B, C, which would be absolutely nuts, because if this is your X and you look for a flat, what you're going to get is a fake out to the downside, impulsive move up. So of course the scenarios then are going to be, oh, this is a wave 1 and we look for a 2. But then you also fake out the bulls again as the end of an X, and then you move down in a wave Y, either zigzag or a triangle again. So yeah, that would be nuts. Time-wise, that would be better for a wave X to end after the 382, because this would be very short for a wave X. So preferably you actually end here, but then you need to see this, right? And then your common target for your B, in that case, would be, of course, expanding flat. That's the first one we're looking for. Oh, that's right on top of the support resistance area. We have 57.7 to 56.6K. That's your common target area. Of course, a wave B needs to be a 3-wave structure. So in that case, what we're looking for is a 1, 2, eventually 3, 4, 5. Move up again, move down, right? So we have our wave A, we have a wave B, we get a wave C. Most commonly, it's a zigzag. That's A, B, C. Most common pattern in a B is a zigzag or a double zigzag, or that sort of stuff, right? Zigzag family. And then you move up in C, which is an impulse, which should end above wave A most commonly for an expanding flat. And then you go down for Y. Yeah. That would be a pretty crazy continuation of this range. Yeah. But the 1112 now here, now that we hit the 886, very rare for a wave 2 to hit the 886. And each wave 1 is longer than the previous wave 1, which already lowers probabilities. So a 1112 now does not have great probabilities, and is almost invalidated even. which means local bullish scenario, you're either going to have an expanding diagonal, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is rare because expanding diagonals are rare unless all of the other stuff fails. Or you have a flat, which is very ugly for a 1, 2, 3, where this flat is very long in time. And wave B hit the 1.618, taken from the high to the low of A, which is not great. So I don't really like the flat. I would even put an expanding diagonal before a flat in that case. Yeah. Solivian, welcome. Good to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I know, Mark. I know. I actually heard my phone ringing. Ooh, I do have to stream tonight, actually, also for gold. Yeah, welcome, Solivian. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you here. 886 hit, that's correct. Donny Bros, great to see everyone, and greets from the south of the Netherlands near Maastricht. Aha. Other side of the Netherlands. I'm on the side of Rotterdam. But yeah, good to have you here. Welcome. Quite a lot of Dutchies here, usually. So Maastricht, beautiful city as well. Tim, should I get up? Yeah, it's all probabilities, all having a plan. In some sources I read that the A wave in the triangle may be flat and the rest waves have to be... yeah, so mind the websites you follow, because for me that is not... and of course everyone does their own Elliott waves, but following the rules of Elliott or Frost and Prechter, Elliott himself, it's all zigzags, zigzag family, yeah. So I don't like to see a flat. Then I would prefer to count then this move up as a zigzag itself. Yeah. Also, then we have to count it as an ABC, of course, because a triangle is not allowed to be a wave 2. So if this turns out a 3, it can't be a triangle. So that would be something to keep an eye on. Now the extension to the downside here. Martsiki, I actually think maybe it's stuck for you because we are at 134 likes at the moment. So I'm not sure why your stream is still on 22, but I like the motivation though. Adam, how you doing? How you doing? It's official that Adam is here. Time to end the stream. Usually you get quite close, yeah, and actually it's another day where I'm not yet ending, but I do have to do some other stuff in the house. I probably won't upload necessarily an evening update, or it's only going to be late because I have to live stream for gold, answer some questions there, and then yeah, relax as well a little bit. No? We're still here. Now it's not seem like we at top of wave 1, and now we move down. Yes, probabilities switch, like now that we hit the 886, a 11112 is very low probability. Expanding diagonals are always rare. And then you have the flat where you actually want to see 62.9 taken or 63k as the low. But a flat is very long in time compared to your wave 1, which is literally one move up. So yes, it does increase probabilities for bearish scenarios. Do you like 63450 for the lowest possible support to hold? The last meeting 63450. I don't really have anything at 63450 though. Oh, maybe the weekly naked point of control in that case. It's only if you have an expanding diagonal, which is rare. Yeah. So for an expanding diagonal, to get a higher probability, you want this to turn out being a three-wave structure, right? So an ABC, which then means you want to hit the 0.618, which I have here, from the high, this high, to the current low, because that's an invalidation for wave 4. So in an impulse, you're going to be looking for 1, 2, and then a 3, 4, and a wave 5, right? But if you're looking for an ABC, which could be in an expanding diagonal, right? Because this then becomes a three-wave structure and then another three-waver. You want price to move up and hit the 0.618. So that is your invalidation, 66.1K for bearish scenarios. And that means you have to hit this before going for a 4 and a 5 down. So if you do this, that's bullish. And then you can move down again, but that would be bullish, taking the highs. If you move down and then range here, range, and then do this, then we have a 5-wave structure. And then we can be looking for this to be a wave A, and then another B, and then a wave C. That's going to be your bearish scenario, right? See? And the bullish scenario, which is very awkward, is that if you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending preferably below this low, you have a flat 1, 2, 3. But this wave 2 is so ridiculously long, man. I don't like that. In time, it's very, very long in time. So I would prefer the bearish scenario then, probability wise. Tim, I had sandwiches with cheese and guacamole though. Yeah, long live stream, but there's a lot happening, many questions, of course, many emotions, I suppose, as well, while the chart, it seems, is refreshing. Okay. Hamed L. Level by level, right? So, but yeah, probabilities are higher now for a move to the downside, as an expanding diagonal is very rare. And we need to see a three-wave structure. So you need to hit the 618 here. And that is when we're going to talk about upside. And you need to hit it before wave 4. Yeah. So, yeah. What's up, Deshaun Silva? How are you doing? How are you doing? Welcome. Wave 1 is finished. We are in wave 2. ABC has a big triangle and see impulsive waves. Yeah, if you can finish an impulse here, then I would love to see your count though. So because you can't count this as a diagonal, because wave 3 is the shortest, which isn't allowed. So, or you need some other impulsive structure here towards the upside. Yeah. No, I'm Dutch, so I just say hi. Daniel, is it time to sell the pullbacks? Depends on your plan and strategy, I suppose, right? If it's based on your personal plan and strategy and the probabilities of your data, right? Of your strategy, then that could be a scenario. What are the next support levels? They're on the chart here. Yeah, so we have the day naked point of control, 63.9K for the daily naked point of control. Weekly naked point of control, 63.5K, and then we go down, and then we go into the 61 area. There's not much left here, really. So, yeah, okay, 62, yeah, this 1 hour order block, that's where it starts, 62.4. The 886 is very rare for a wave 2. So if you look at a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you touch an 886, it's very low probabilities that you're in a triple 1, 2 for a very bullish scenario. The only thing we can now look for is the 618. So the 886 is not something to look for anymore. The 1112 is not something that I'm gonna be looking at. If this turns out to be a three-wave structure, A, B, C, and we hit the 618 here, right? I'm gonna be looking for an expanding diagonal. That is the remaining bullish scenario where you do not take the low at 63K. But then you first need to move up and hit the 618. Cheers, handpan improvisations. Thank you. Rising wedge pattern broken. That is correct. Crack drops to 30K. Would be good for the next bull run. Well, 30K would mean a running flat on a weekly time frame, and running flats are very rare. So if you go to 30K, probabilities are actually higher. You're going to go to below 15K, probably 10K. And it doesn't stop at 30K. Yeah, I only trade in spots, so I only wait for cryptos to go up. What do you suggest to do? I mean, it depends on your plan and your strategy in your like how you trade your spot. But that's pretty much the answer. You know, I'm not a financial advisor, of course, but usually if you are spot trading, you want to buy the low, sell the high, but you have to identify your support resistance areas and your probabilities if you want to buy somewhere or not, of course. Thank you, Craig. CME gaps tend to close 64.1, 64.5. Oh, it's a little bit lower. Yeah, it's close to the daily naked point of control. Flotty, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Koens, the bottom 886 invalidates the top one? No, they're not related. It's just they are different 886s. Yeah, and sometimes the chart does hit an 886. But it's not common though. More common for ABCs. But then you want to hit the 618 here. So, yeah. But this 886 kind of like invalidates a 1112. So because it's very rare for a wave 2 to hit it. Surprised to see the alt holding up this well. Oh, I haven't checked. Yeah, I mean 4 to 6, 3 to 6% down. It's a beautiful day. What scenario are you waiting for? Price to either hit the 618. That is one, because then we count this as an ABC and moving up for an expanding diagonal. That's the bullish scenario, most bullish one. And the bearish scenario is an impulse to the downside here, where we're looking for a wave 4 and a 5, which means that you don't want to hit the 618, as that is an invalidation for a wave 4. So those are the two to look at the moment. What if we hit 63K first? Yeah, as long... Look, if price just goes down in a straight line, you can still have a wave C here. And then I'm going to be talking about the 618. So it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if price hits 63K, you can still have an expanding diagonal. It's invalidated if you move below 63K. So if you hit 63.9K, no problem. If you go below 63K, that's a problem. Craig Mason, really good job. Very rarely subscribe and watch every video. Never know when you go live though. Cheers, Craig. Yeah, I usually go live around 2-3 p.m. Central European time. Like 2 to 3:30, I suppose. So yeah, that's the usual time. Sometimes earlier, sometimes later, but usually in the middle of the afternoon. Rob EV, 49.3K is the invalidation. Are you in Solana? No. Not in Solana, but I do altcoin analysis as well. And that's every first Sunday of the month we do altcoin streams now. They're all connected to Bitcoin, yeah, pretty much. Which correct, yeah. If Bitcoin goes down, the rest tends to go down as well. This is the bigger wave 2. Well, in that case, so my main question then is, how do you guys end an impulse here? Because this being a diagonal is invalidated, but an impulse here by itself is also invalid because of all the overlap. I would be interested in a count though. Plus 31. Are you sure it will fall? No, because we can't speak in certainties, only probabilities. And as price is moving down, what we're waiting for is a range to form, which gives us all the information, right? Hitting the 618 at 66.1K, and we're going to be looking for the highs and price to move up to the resistance area here. If we move down and create a wave 4 and then continue dropping in a wave 5, we're looking for an impulse down and then likely continuation down. Saglan to run. Why can't it be? We completed an ABC down now. We're doing a connecting B, and we'll do another C because, well, then we're talking about a flat. But then the flat you're talking about is an A, B, C, because you cannot have a B that goes here, right? If you have a 3-wave move down, your B needs to move all the way to at least a 0.9 of A. Now, in this case, right, because the probabilities, one second, if you're going to look for a 3-wave flat here, because that's what you're looking for, this has to also be a 3-wave move, but this better counts as a WXY double zigzag, which means this has to be an A. And then we're going to be looking for a B to the downside for a flat on a bigger time frame to go below this low, but you can't start like you're going to be, most commonly it's a zigzag to the downside, right? A, B, C in a bigger B. So what you're talking about here has an impact on this whole structure, the whole count. And we can't just count this as an A, B, C. You can't, by the way, everyone, you can't count this now as an A, B, and then see a wave C down, right? For wave A, you need a 5-wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then your wave B is not, the requirement is not hitting at least a 0.9. And then you can have a C down. But now we only have a 3-wave structure, which means if this is an A, your B needs to hit at least a 0.9 from the high to the low, minimum. If we talk about OR, we have a W, X, Y, and then you don't need to hit the 0.9. Right, so that's a little bit of information, I suppose. But of course, if you regard this and you want to see a flat, then yeah, probabilities are higher. This is a corrective structure up because you're going to be looking for another correction here. And then you have a WXY up, WXY double zigzag, followed by a flat, but that's low probabilities because wave B, if this is your A double zigzag, wave B needs to take the low or at least hit the 0.9 Fibonacci, which is somewhere here. And yeah, you don't want to see a flat in a wave B. A flat in a wave B of a bigger flat is extremely rare. Yeah, it's very uncommon. Yeah, so that's pretty much why, I suppose. When Trackmania stream, gaming stream, I would do that on Twitch though. I can always just go live. I still have my channel, so yeah, I can always just go live on Twitch. How do you look at the bottom in general? The The 59K bottom, I suppose that is. I mean, especially today, the probabilities increase from an Elliott Wave perspective to still take that low, just because your bullish scenario is going to be an expanding diagonal, which is very rare, or it's your 1 flat in 2 and 3, but your flat is incredibly long, which is also lower probabilities. So yeah, increased probabilities to eventually take it. But in that case, your invalidation is the high. So the high is your invalidation. Yeah. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or you need an expanding diagonal as an ending C in the bearish scenario, by the way. So then we have W, X, and then you go down in Y, and then you have an A, B, and then C, and then wave C. It needs to be an expanding diagonal. It's just that expanding diagonals are very rare and therefore never preferred unless all of the other stuff fails. Yeah, potentially. Do watch out with the mindset, of course, where really sure or uncertain, those type of words should not exist in the vocabulary, you know what I mean, of a trader. It's all probabilities. So my highest probabilities are that we close the damn weekly above 6. So that's the good way of writing. You got to think in probabilities, not in certainties. It doesn't mean invalidation. It's just that we're in a scale of probabilities between a 0 and 100%, but no probability is 100%. So we can't speak in certainties. But yeah, there is potential. But in that case, we would be looking for an expanding diagonal to the upside here. Or the flat, but that's very ugly. I can't cope with the flat, mate. Shirley, how you doing? Welcome. Oh yeah, so I don't necessarily need to look per se, because a truncated 5 is very, very rare, never preferred unless all of the other stuff fails. So some scenarios you never really want to look for them unless you can't really have anything else, is expanding triangles, expanding diagonals, and truncated ways, truncated C, truncated 5, that's very rare. So expanding structures and truncated structures are never top of the list unless all of the other scenarios are failing. So just based on reading truncated, it's a low probability scenario. Yeah, this would count better as a flat in that case, like a B and then a C. Ranging inside the March 11 weekly candle and 2 weekly doji candle. Yeah, potentially though. Yeah, well, I mean, we're still in a big sideways range. Pleasure, HZ. June cut rates still. Yeah, time is also a thing. That's correct. Please, can you explain? So preferably with 1-2s or a buildup of 1-2s. Each 1-2 is shorter in time and price. But that is of course, that's preferred. compared to wave 1s and wave 2s being longer, because each 1-2 is a lower degree wave 1-2. So preferably they're smaller. About the structure of an ending diagonal in the fifth wave and in the C wave. Yeah, so an ending diagonal, right? Education. An ending diagonal, either to the down or the upside, doesn't matter, always is 5 structures. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure, right? Where a contracting ending diagonal is by far most common. Again, right? Expanding diagonals are much rarer, never preferred. And in an ending diagonal, so what we have is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is our 5. This is our ending diagonal. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your subdegree. So that's the ending diagonal count. All of the waves in an ending diagonal have to be part of the zigzag family. So each wave is at least a 3-wave structure. So you're going to be looking for in wave 1, a zigzag, 2, zigzag, 3, zigzag, 4, and 5, all zigzags or potentially double or triple zigzags even. So yeah, that's an ending diagonal for you, right? And then you expect a move back towards the upside. So this can be a wave 5, can also of course be a wave C. Right? This can be a bigger C or even a bigger 5. But yeah, an ending diagonal ends a structure, and all of the waves have to be 3-wave structures. So they always have to be zigzags, not flats or other stuff, but they have to be part of the zigzag family. Can you please put the Fib time where we will hit? I kind of know what you mean, but it's still a little early, eh? And again, we can't speak in certainties, eh? Where we will hit 56 or 57K is incorrect pronunciation in the trading industry. But in the bearish scenario and the probabilities you're asking for, before the weekend or during the weekend even, potential. But that would be very quick though, because we need a... Oh wait, I'm on a 4-hour chart. Wait, what weekend did we... We're talking about the 26th. Oh, that would be very quick. So if you have your A and you look for a B and a C, wave B can be very long. It depends on the impulse. You need a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a correction and another move down. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen this week. So I'd be looking for next week in that case. That's the bearish scenario, by the way, everyone. So yeah. Probably next week, start of May, first half of May. Ooh, I can't keep up, it seems. I think you guys are talking with one another here. A's, yeah, it can be counted as a double zigzag WXY. That's the bearish scenario. And then label that as an A for a flat A, B, C and a potential X. Or X is already finished, you go down for Y and a zigzag. So very sharp move up as well. Very sharp, very quick. Quite uncommon for a 1 C-ish. Yeah, all good, of course, Derry Max, all good. Yeah, I just try to make sure people think in probabilities, because in trading we can't think in certainties. So it's all probabilities. such as liquidation. I do use other tools. Liquidation zones for me is just liquidity pools like highs and lows that I identify, but I do use other tools, and I like to use volume. Ooh, my microphone almost went. Sorry guys, you must have heard that. Oh, close one. No, so I do use other tools myself. Yeah. I don't really, and like liquidation is, I just use volume. Yeah. Tiago Santos, it's in the stream plan channel around 7:30. Usually around that time there. Expanding diagonal or a truncated fifth? Expanding diagonal would be a higher probability for me. They appear more often than truncated fives. Yeah. So that is just based on appearance over the past years. It's yeah. So I know where I've counted some expanding structures, but I can't remember counting a truncated five. It's so rare. Yeah, it would be expanding diagonal for me. Is it right that if we have divergence between 1 and 3? Depends what type of divergence you're talking about. RSI, MACD, CVD between 1 and 3. So it's A, B, C. So we will have a correction bigger than B. Or rejection, and if there's no divergence, so it's WXY. I don't know what the divergence is you talk about. Probably RSI, but you have to clarify boom trading. Would be good to know. What's up, Mark? Welcome back. Night at the pub. Also, and that, like, in addition to wait. Okay. In addition to this, I don't use RSI myself. So I know the 3-5 divergence, but a 1-3 and an ABC and a WXY, I have no idea what the RSI does in these type of scenarios. I'm just familiar with the 3-5, but I don't use RSI in my trading. What's up, Jeremy? How you doing? How you doing? Late start to my day. You're here. Sometimes it's nice to have a late start, no? Is this a tougher area to trade? I mean, it's not really like... For a swing trader, probably yes. But no, I mean, it depends on what type of trader you are, I suppose, crazy potato. Because for scalping, there's probably today, there's already 10 options or something. You know? So it depends what type of trader you are and what type of confluences you like to use, which will eventually result in an X amount of trades in a period of time. Stuba, that would be an expanding structure now. So like, here you go. There, that's it. 2 lines. That's your bull count. Because I really dislike the flat, to be honest. It's way too long for a wave 2. Then it would be a wave B. So yeah, there you go. The 11 match W doji candle bottom is now holding Bitcoin. Is there confluence with an Elliott Wave corrective target? I don't know what you mean with the 11th March. Is it 11th of March? Match? March? But that's all the way here. And this is not related to where we are now. RSI or MACD. Yeah, so I don't have experience with RSI and MACD in a WXY or ABC corrective structure. So I know the divergence between a wave 3 and 5. but I don't use it enough to know anything about WXY. So yeah, I won't be the right person to answer that question though. Yeah, I don't know really what 11 match is here. What is the most efficient way to determine probability for the day? For a day, it's depends on your style of trading. So with Elliott waves, of course, we have probabilities per scenario, but we don't really know where we're going to be at the end of the day per se. So it can be bullish, but you can still continue in a range before actually make it out of the range bullish. You can be bearish, but you can still continue a range and then only in a few days move down. So yeah, it's difficult to really say for the day. It probably depends on your own analysis in the morning. So with Elliott waves, of course, I have my probabilities that I have at the beginning of the day, which are not day probabilities, but they're scenario probabilities. So they're a bit unrelated to time unless I use Fib time. That is when it becomes important. But it's usually not the end of the day. It's usually before this date, a certain structure has to be finished. And if it's not finished, probabilities go down. You know, that's the way I like to use time. So made a lower high. So now shouldn't we get a lower low? Or at least a double bottom. That it has potential shed, yes. So, right, the shouldn't, right, the words should is also trading-wise, it's not probability. So yes, there is the potential to move down back to the RC50K. And that increased in probabilities as a 1112 is extremely unlikely at the moment. An expanding diagonal is your pretty much remaining bullish structure, which is very rare because you also have the A or a 1, 2, flat, 3, but the flat is so long in time, it's very low probabilities that you have a 1, 2, and then a 3 up in a flat. So correct. What you say is correct. I mean, probability-wise, they increase to see lower. Yes, correct. Ending diagonals are, and because it's a lot of three-wave structures, they can be very confusing as well. Yeah, truncated fifth, no idea. Does it go lower than this in the next days? 1, 2, probably looking for an impulse now. 1, 2, 3, then a 4, and then a 5. Yeah, and then a retracement up. So what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That would be something to look out for. But now, as long as price is falling, we look higher for a move. Probability is higher to just continue down until we actually build a solid range, which at least is the same size as this one. So now time becomes important, which is actually quite nice. So you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in an impulse. Now it's just waiting till you actually get a bigger range. And once the bigger range forms, yeah, you go probably sideways for at least 2 days, probably, and a minimum, and then see one more low and then a retracement in the bearish scenario. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 4 likely going to be 2 days minimum. Move up for a B and then go down in either a C or a 3, but likely C. Matsiki, don't you think it's better for April to stay below 600K? First red candle center. Yeah, I'm not like, so I know some people have probabilities with regards, or a strategy maybe even with regards to how many green candles there are, but on a monthly time frame or a weekly. But I don't look at it. So for me, it's not better or worse to have many green candles and then look for a red one. I just look at Elliott waves unrelated to candle color. So on a monthly time frame. So I wouldn't mind if there's 8 green ones, but if Elliott waves is telling me it's about to get a correction or a sideways range, I'll be looking at Elliott Waves, but not at the color of the candle, if you know what I mean. But I have seen people that do say from this amount of candles that are green, probabilities for downside become very high. So they start to get out of positions, or, you know, but that depends on the personal plan or strategy that someone has. What's up, Barbie? How you doing? Oh, you shared a bullish count in Discord. Where did you share it, mate? Where did you share it? I have no idea what I'm looking at. Found a way to count this move up impulsively. Yeah, during the live stream I haven't had detailed time to go into this, but 1, 2. One second. Yeah, there's overlap for me here. Overlap between your 1 and 4. So I checked this one. This 1 and this 4 do have overlap inside of wave 3, which is of course not really what we like to see. Yeah, for the thing that bothers me most is the 1 and 4 overlap. Holy moly, guys. Yeah, the 1 and 4 overlap is that's a bit of a thing. I mean, I would accept not really having a big wave 4 if we count this as a diagonal up for a 1, 2, very short 2, and then a short 4. But it's mainly the 1, 4 overlap, and then A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you wanna move back up, hit the 6, 1, 8. Little random line. Yeah. Wait 1 second. I saw this. Music lover. Very urgent emerging. How much Bitcoin will go down today? It will increase or not? I am on my liquidation. Help me, bro. Look, we don't know what Bitcoin's gonna do, right? The only thing that I can tell you is, yeah, I don't like the flat as well. So, of course, I can't give advice. The only thing from an Elliott Wave, cheers, Night of Eternity. Thank you, by the way. I can like this. Nice, hearted. Cheers, mate. The only thing I can tell you is price is moving down on increasing volume. As long as we are not going to see a range, at least the size of what we had up here, probabilities are higher to move down. Now, with regards to you mentioning liquidity, so this is something probably once a stream I talk about this. And it's not always what people want to hear, but it's what people have to hear, is that being in this scenario, right, almost hitting liquidation, probably, by the way you ride, a big loss for you, which can be anything. But the mistake was made before entering your position. So as we never know what Bitcoin's gonna do, it's moving down, increasing volume, we just wait for a range, and else it just continues to go down. But the lesson to learn here is to have a plan, have a strategy, have a stop loss, right? And always look at how much you lose when you enter a position. Don't focus on how much you win. Only focus on how much you lose. Because in this case, if you are now in a difficult position, emotions are high and all that stuff, and whatever I say, you might hold or you might sell, doesn't matter. It's your own choice what you do. Now imagine you sell and price goes back to break even. You're probably gonna be very angry on yourself because you sold. Even though price went back to break even, but you sold at a big loss, almost at liquidation. Price is now back to break even. You would have made it. You could have gone out at break even. You're like, oh shit, I should have held. My answer to that would be no. You the mistake is not getting out and then be like, oh damn, next time I have to hold because you see it went back to break even. No, the mistake has been made before even entering the position. That's when the mistake was made, because there was no plan, no strategy, no stop loss, So that would be something to fix. And with what Bitcoin's gonna do now, it's moving to the downside, volume increasing. We just wait for a range, and there's the potential here for an impulse down. So in your case, you want this to be an ABC. We already passed the 1.618, which is so the common target for wave C, by the way, is here. A less common, but still quite common target is the 1.618. But the moment you're passing the 1.618, probabilities do increase for a wave 3 compared to a wave C. It's not that it invalidates an ABC down, because a wave C can be very long. But it is uncommon for a wave C to be longer than the 1.618. We're currently at the 2. So wave Cs can also go to the 2. Even a wave C once went to the 3.618. It's just very rare that happens. So yeah. Unfortunately, that's all I can say, really. It's all about management. Yeah, and I know what she's gonna do. I saw my my wife walking just now, so yeah. Unfortunately, that is the answer, really. Quick screen. Double bottoms are very rarely trend reversals. So I don't know what some people understand as a double bottom, but for me a double bottom would be, actually we have a double top now, arguably. It's very rare that this happens. You have an 886 touch, which might lead to a wave 3, which is very uncommon. But most commonly you take the highs sooner or later, and not a trend reversal to move all the way back. So with regards to double bottoms, the preferred double bottom you want to have is a low, and then take that low and then move up. But that's not what I call a double bottom. This is just a new low. A double bottom for me is a low and then a higher low. But this higher low, I talk about a double bottom once the 886 is touched. Now what you want to see for a double bottom is price moving down to the 0.5 to the 0.786 Fibonacci from the low. So you want a low to be made and then price to move up impulsively, right? And then move into the common target area for a wave 2, which is the 0.5 to the 786. This is the area where you look for a bounce. If you hit the 886, very likely you're going to take this low sooner or later. If price can find support in the 05786 area, we can look for a move up, which is either a wave 3 or potentially a wave C. But this would be arguably the double bottom. But a double bottom for me is like an 886 touch. It's like two wicks, two lows that are very close to one another, right? That would be for me a double bottom type of structure. So here we had a low and here we had a higher low, but they're almost at the same price. This is a very like typical like double bottom, high probability. You're going to take this low and not look for a trend reversal, which we eventually also did. So a double bottom for me would be an 886 touch or a double top. Like two highs or two lows that are very close to one another. But if we probably talk about what you say, then my Control Z is not working. That's annoying. I need to refresh my chart. Then we need a wave 1, 2, and your bounce needs to be in the 05786 area. That is what you're looking for in what you are explaining. I'm going to refresh my chart. I do have to go very, very soon though. Fib time. Yeah, I have a whole Fib time video in the in the gold membership, which is the Elliott Wave course. But in a nutshell, most of the waves corrections are related around the 1-to-1 Fib time. I got to keep it very short because I do have to move. In an impulse, wave 1 and 5 tend to be related between the 0.618 and the 1.618 Fib time. Wave 2 and 4 are related as well. Wave 4 is commonly between the 1 and the 5, preferably 4 Fib time. If you go to the 5, probabilities go down. Wave 1 and 2. Wave 2 is related to wave 1 in Fib time. Wave 2 preferably ends between the 0.382 and the 4 Fib time, or the 3 Fib time, going to the 4 lowest probability significantly. Most commonly, it ends between the 382 and the 2. And yeah, then you go to corrections. A, B, C. Wave C can sometimes be very short or very long, but commonly it's around like the 1-to-1, 0.618, 1.618. Same with the WXY, but then you measure W and Y. So W and Y are between the 0.618 and the 1.618. Wave X and B can be very long, very short. They are difficult to measure time with. So yeah. In the WXY, XZ, W, Y, and Z are usually around the 1-to-1 Fib time. Wave X's can be quite long or short, doesn't really matter. Triangles, preferably your wave A is one of the bigger waves, and then B and C and D and E start to become smaller in time, but not like too small, still right proportion. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And you take a Fib time from the start to the end of a move. So if I want to compare quickly, if I want to compare, for example, this is an example, but just for the sake of the example, if I want to compare this in time with this in time, I take a Fib time from the low to the high to the low. And now I am comparing this structure in time with this structure in time, and I can change the vertical line numbers, of course. So these are the Fib times, pretty much. Yeah, I could. It depends on time. I have to go live at 7:30 for gold, and I still want to run with my wife as well. So I pretty much have to go. I'm probably going to be late for gold. So no, and that is why the bulls have a difficulty, right, Stuva? Yeah. 4 hours still bullish. Probabilities are now more geared towards the bears, as the only bullish scenario really is an expanding diagonal, which is not great. Low probabilities. Stuba had a count, which is quite cool, but you have overlap between 1 and 4, which is not allowed. So yeah, doesn't look too great. Doesn't look too great. Updated count. We'll check in Discord. Can you make a long position? I mean, theoretically, you can long and short everywhere. Depends on your plan. Yeah, lesson in risk management. How much low you have predicted that Bitcoin will go like this? Depends on the time frame you talk about, but yeah, you can go into the 50s if the bearish scenario plays out. You go back below this low. Locally first, you would be looking for a range. a sideways structure, which I know maybe we're forming here. We're right above support as well, but yeah, we're currently just waiting for a range to form, then probably drop in a bearish scenario. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't say how low are we going to go, because we don't know. It's all scenarios, it's probabilities. So if price now does this, we're going to look for the highs, because this is now an ABC for then an expanding diagonal highest probability. But the probability at the moment is higher. This is an impulse down because of the length of the structure, highest amount of volume, which therefore means eventually we're looking for a range, eventually, because we simply need to wait when it forms, because we don't know. It might be a very extended 3 and maybe the range is only going to form here, but it might also form right now. But then we would expect at least one more low in a 5. So it depends on when do we start to range, similar to the length in time that we had here for then a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a move back up, which would lead to bearish scenarios to go below the low, really. So the bullish scenario is hit the 618 without a range and a move down. So pretty much make a low and up. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So the probabilities are not really with you at the moment. Elliott. It should now. There's never a should out of the vocabulary for a trader. 6,500. Look, there's no financial advice here. But probabilities from an Elliott Wave point of view would be higher to have a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then look for a bit of a bounce. But I don't know where your entry is. It's also, yeah, a big problem you seem to have is not having the plan or a strategy and a stop loss. So now you're emotional. So it's not what you want to hear, but I already explained what you need is a plan, strategy. You need to make a decision if you're going to get out or not, but probabilities are currently not really with you. Probabilities at the moment are higher for a 5-wave structure because of the extension here to the downside and high volume. If price does move up, the 618 is your invalidation for a wave 4. Probabilities increase to take the high. The only thing that might be your savior is the fact we hit an 886 here, increasing probabilities for an ABC. But this wave C is quite extended, high amount of volume. We invalidated a 1112 here pretty much because we hit the 886 from the low to the high. So bullish scenario, what is left is an expanding diagonal, which is very rare, never preferred, meaning bearish probabilities are higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then after a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which might go all the way down here, of course, we look for a bounce. But will we ever make it to your entry? I don't know. So it's all now your choice. The most important thing that I can tell you is learn this lesson. Learn this lesson, man. Build a plan, build a strategy, follow the 6 steps that I mentioned earlier, right? Build a plan, have an invalidation. Have an invalidation. Don't use your liquidation as an invalidation, right? Have a stop loss, have a plan. So yeah, I don't know if you should close. It depends on how much money you play with. Do you need it for your house and your family to take care? Do you pay university with this? Is this just like pocket money? You know, yeah. Apparently, it's an emotional value, but you got to make up your mind if you sell or not, based on what you think is right. Because anything what I say is not going to help you. Because I can say, like from my experience, right? If I would be in this position, which I'm luckily not anymore, my ass would sell. Like, fuck that, you know? Like, it's my emotions are running high. I better take the L and learn the fucking lesson, right? Get this shit done next time. I have a plan, I have a strategy, I prepare, I build my statistics. I'm not going to trade for another 6 months to 1 year. I'm going to build my plan, build my strategy, trade with data, just because of this lesson that you're about to learn now. Now, if you go out and price goes back to your break even, it's no one's fault but your own, because you didn't have a plan. So you can't say, oh shit, next time I should hold, go back to break even, because it's going to go back to break even. You don't know. Next time I should just hold, even though I'm super emotional. No, the mistake has been made before you entered the trade. So this is a very hard lesson, and I can't say anything good that's going to help you out here. The only stuff that I say or can say is this. All right? The only thing I can tell you is to have a plan. Have a plan. You don't have a plan. And that's how we get into shit. if you're a beginning trader and you don't have a plan, stop trading and build a plan, right? Get your money out of your account, keep $100 in or $50 or $10 for play money and to like do a little bit. You're gonna be a high probability losing trader in the beginning of your trading career. Get the money out, right? Put it somewhere else. Build data, build a plan, build statistics, get experience in the market. 6 steps to be have a high chance of being a profitable trader. Step 1, and this is going to take you at least 6 months, like to have a solid, high quality plan, because it starts with experience. Step 1, try as many free tools as you can, right? Build experience with all the tools, some indicators. Step 2, build statistics on individual indicators that are your favorites. Step 3, combine some of these or tools. Step 3, combine these tools, some of your favorite tools that have good statistics, right? Combine some of these tools, build more statistics on the combination. Step 4, tweak and adjust. Add a tool, remove a tool, build more data on the combination, improving your strategy. Step 6, start trading with low money, work on mindset. Step 5, sorry. And then step 6 is increasing your budget, right? Slowly to get used to bigger losses, which clearly is not the case now. So these are 6 steps that you need to follow. Start with free stuff, free tools, free indicators. Find your favorites, build statistics, then combine some of your favorites, build more statistics, tweak and adjust the combination to improve your data, which is your strategy now. Step 5 is start trading with low money, work on mindset. Step 6 is increase portfolio size. Go through these 6 and you have a good probability, sir or madam, behind the other side of the camera, to be a profitable trader. If you just are in this market randomly longing, shorting, going to YouTube to look for, not good, right? You're not going to make it, guys. I hope that on this channel, I educate people in a way that they can trade responsibly, right? And that means a plan, a strategy, a stop loss, and a target, right? If you do not have any of the 4 things I just mentioned, you have a problem, and this is what then happens, which is not nice that you're now like the example of the story, but I have been there. I have been in your scenario. I have had that problem. I have had the big loss. I've been there, but now I know, all my strategies are, all my trades are controlled. I don't have this problem anymore, and hopefully one day you will learn from these lessons as well, and not have this repeat. So there you go. You have been live for 1 week. I go live every day. So yeah. I just hope that that people that are watching, I don't know, like on the channel, I promote having a strategy. If people are like, oh shit, that is too much work, then probably, you got to go to the Moon Boys, because that's where you just long or short random, that's not what we do here. You need a plan, you need a strat. If you don't have that, then what are you doing? So, yeah. This should be its own video. Yeah, I suppose so. Lucian, the answer is yes in that case. So yeah, but we first need a wave 4. We did touch an 886 here. We need a wave 4 and a 5 down. So we need a range and a move down still. Yeah, we have an 886 touch here, which increases probabilities for an ABC. The problem, however, is you can't really count an impulse anymore. Only an expanding diagonal, which means that you want to hit a 6 and 8 before making a 4 and a 5. So that is what we're looking for. Okay, I do have to go. I really need to run together with my wife. We need to do some sports. And then I have the live stream for gold tonight as well, where they can ask questions. Now, I think that after the gold live stream, I might make a update video of what has happened locally. So 4 hour, 1 hour time frame, because a lot has changed, of course, with regards to this move to the downside. And I can imagine the beginning of this video is not very accurate anymore because of the move down. So, you know, things happened and then I did analysis later. So, I mean, it's accurate, but of course now there's new scenarios. So, yeah, so I have to go. Still got to do some sports, be live for the gold members, and then possibly make a video, but then it will only be online at like 9-10 p.m. or something. And I actually still have to do stuff in the house as well. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Yeah, that being said, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching as well. Hopefully during the drop to the downside, you know, had like, during the live stream, we were able to calm you down emotionally maybe, or provide you with a little bit of clarity here while price moved towards the downside. So yeah, let's see what price is going to do. Pretty nice move today. And yeah, that being said, stay safe, trade safe, I should say, and trade with a plan. I pretty much went off at the end there, but please trade with a plan. So, cheers everyone. Tomorrow is, of course, another live stream, but tonight potentially another normal update video of like 10 minutes. So, you know, because things have changed. So have a good one. Time for me to go running.